everybody, and welcome into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You're watching our coverage of some high school Overwatch tonight. We're going to start off with Yorba Linda versus CBC. I'm your host, Brenner Bearlad. Joined with me tonight to call all of your action is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. So before the stream started, we talked a little bit about how these high school players can be as good as some of the collegiate players on the individual level, but their team play might be lacking. So walk us through that conversation that we had.
So typically with a high school player, there is nothing that says you can't be as good as a college player. Actually, in high school, you have more time to play and practice the game than you would in college. So it's actually likely that high school players can be better than some college players, especially like just coming right into the series. So lack of individual skill is not something that you can count on as a caster. But what you can usually count on is most of those high school players haven't been picked up by tournaments or picked up by teams or something like that, because collegiate play is, if you want to go pro, collegiate play is, for a lot of players, their first experience working in a team. So tonight, we expect to see probably some more individual play, and not to say that team play is impossible for high school, because we've definitely been shocked before. Meridian Technical comes to mind there.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the team play could still be strong, which could lead these teams to victory as well, because they're in a lower bracket. It might be possible. So the individual level is going to be something we want to keep an eye on for a lot of these players, because we ourselves as Boise State are also scouting. So a lot of the good things that these players can take away from coming to Boise State would be something like Doc's Keys to the Game, which is something we have in every game, and especially in Overwatch. And that's to never take a fair fight. And what does that mean? Take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared and when you have ability advantages. And that's brought to us by Drop-In Gaming. Drop-In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play through your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you to begin your competitive gaming journey. Sign up at dropingaming.com. So these high school matches are definitely something to look forward to, and I know a lot of the maps can be a bit, I don't want to say controversial, but different in what the map order might be, but always starting with control, as is kind of the tradition for every tournament. Going over to Lijiang Tower, this is a map we see very consistent with the Boise State games. So going over to the high school level play, is there some variation we might see there?
So normally, the variation you're talking about is something other than Symmetra Brawl, right? So are we going to see something other than Symmetra Brawl? We've seen a lot of high school teams, Meridian Tech again comes to mind, run the Symmetra Brawl, so I actually expect to still see it, even though it's high school, just because these teams and these players are like aware of meta strats, regardless of whether or not they have to use them, because that's another thing that usually transitions when you get to college play. There are hard metas that you have to play, that you can't get away from. So theoretically, we could see something other than a Symmetra Brawl. We've seen Reaper pulled out in collegiate play to great effect on Lijiang Tower. It's a super strange pick, but we've seen it get a lot of value, part of the reason being because it's so strange. Yeah. And we've also seen Far Mercy or Echo Mercy or something like that, but we see that in both college and high school, just because, especially this map in particular, very wide, very open, and if you have those things in the air, I would expect to see like a McCree, an Ashe, sometimes we've seen a Widowmaker.
Yeah, and it looks like off the bat already we're seeing a high speed count come out from CBC, and Yorba Linda kind of mirroring that as well, but going more vertical with the Echo going up against that Doomfist will be an interesting fight, as a lot of damage is just being exchanged between these tanks, but it's going to be all-out heals, as Yorba Linda does have the healer advantage with that Ana Mercy combo, because they got the Pocket Mercy with the Echo. They can definitely win this engagement through the poke, but it looks like CBC is going to be on point first and try to hold the best they can, but already with Cell out falling off, that suicide is not what you want to see if you're Yorba Linda, because that puts you down a man. It looks like already they're going to have to go for the reset to get Tracer back, as the Diva mech is lost for Economic Bear, as Doubled gets the first elimination against that Diva. But this fight is still going, as the Nano Boost coming out onto the Winston, as Kale is able to take out the backline of Zombie on that Ana, as now Jacobs taking out E-Doubled, evening things up as both supports do go down. But Primal Rage is coming out, as well as the Duplicate, so the double Monkey, double Primal Rage on the side of Yorba Linda going very well, taking out the Mercy. It looks like the Economic Bear coming back in the Diva form with the self-destruct is going to come out, not land on any members, but still the long brawl on the point, as Kale and E-Doubled able to take out two members of Yorba Linda, quickly followed by Milk on the Echo as Kale takes out the Echo. Oh, gets a 2-piece onto the Ana. Clips takes out Economic Bear. Looks like CBC will hold on the point 40%.
Yorba Linda started using ultimates when they were 2 down, and so at this point CBC has 45% of the point just because Yorba Linda lost a single fight and then didn't hard reset from that. And I think part of why they did that is because they're not used to this team play.
Yeah, and a great opener for Yorba Linda going to this next fight with that Diva Bomb taking out the Moira, their main heals for CBC, as well taking out Kale, so their backline will be safe for now as their own Symmetra gets hacked by the MILF who swapped off that Echo. As exclusivity also gets taken out, losing the healer. CBC's tanks are doing their best to stay alive, but without the Diva mech, he will quickly fall. There goes the Monkey, and there goes the Baby Diva. Looks like Yorba Linda will be able to take it, but the stalling out from CBC, they're going to try to get as much percentage as they can. Looks like they might finally be able to cap it as Kale's there. It's full stall to get as much percentage as they can, getting so close to that 90%, almost 99 if they can retake it, but with members constantly getting taken out, still keeps going as the Diva now even flies in. It's full stall here for CBC. They're relentless, but they got to the overtime with the 99%. You gotta give them credit for it.
And that 99% was gotten off of 2 extremely scrappy fights. So CBC was down 2 when this fight first began, but they were able to stall it out. And the reason that these fights are so long and so scrappy and go on is because neither team is very, very good at target focusing right now. That is something both Yorba Linda and CBC High School are struggling with.
Yeah, now opening up with the EMP and getting a 2-piece. Things are looking very good for CBC as they pop both ults of the Meteor Strike and the Coalescence. The Diva Bomb is going to come out from Economic Bear and get nobody, neither with the remake, as the res even comes out from Guan-san onto the Sella on that Tracer as Kale gets a 2-piece and quickly eliminates that Tracer once again. Make that a 3-piece, taking out Economic Bear, and a 4-piece for Kale, all on their lonesome on this Doomfist. It seems the Symmetra was not there to get the counteract as Eclipse is able to take them out with the Primal Rage, clearing out the point. Things are looking very good for CBC as even the sound barriers coming out, as well as a great sleep dart from the side of Yorba Linda, but she will get taken out by Kale once again as it is a 1v1 between the Winstons. Joe will get that elimination. Here comes the Pulse Bomb out onto Kale, taking out that star player for the team that's gotten so many eliminations as Joe takes out Economic Bear once again as Eclipse takes out Sellout. CBC is winning this brawl, but with how scrappy you mentioned it is, this fight's last for a very long time, and it looks like CBC will take map number 1 of Control.
And that was a nice effort by everybody there. There was definitely some bright spots on both teams, mostly through the lens of like winning 1v1s when they need to win the 1v1s, because that's most of what this game is right now, is a bunch of people going at each other. For example, Kale going against everybody else, winning the 1v1s, taking the next 1v1s, going up 4. But without target focus, we're seeing these fights last a lot longer than they should have, because Kale and the Doomfist, I'm sure, is sitting there like, I killed 4, how are we not immediately winning the fight? Well, you're not immediately winning the fight because there's not a whole lot of target focus after you go up 4 and then get eliminated. It's in games like this where you can't necessarily afford to trade if you're the DPS.
Yeah, now going into the next match, both, or at least Yorba Linda's running the Sim Brawl, but losing that Sim so early on means you gotta swap it off, because Kale on this Doomfist has kind of been unmatched for so long, as they also lose Guanson on that main healer for the Baptiste, as finally Sellout wins the 1v1 against now, but Kale on a tear right now is gonna get that triple onto both tanks as Joe finishes off Sellout, so already CBC takes the point very quickly.
And Yorba Linda now has to swap off of the Symmetra, which, good job, they did immediately. They lost that first fight, so they swapped to Reaper. And Reaper was one of the picks that we mentioned in the very beginning. Strange, but definitely capable of getting value.
Yeah, he could definitely get value against this Winston that has been very much up in their face. Same with the Diva. These tank players for CBC have definitely been utilizing their role, but now they're going to have to circle back to the point to try to hold out the siege coming out from Yorba Linda. They do have Shatter online and will only land onto Kale, but that's the player you need, as he's been the star player for CBC, and quickly taking out E, doubled the main healer down for CBC, so things are looking good for Yorba Linda as the hack comes out to Sellout. but it will not lead to elimination as Jacob takes out Nade on that Sombra. Quickly followed by the MILF taking out Exclusivity and Jacob eliminating Eclipse. This looks like Yorba Linda's point.
Very proud of Yorba Linda. That was the first truly well-executed team fight that we've seen this whole time. It wasn't scrappy. It was immediate. They got the immediate elimination onto Kale, and then E-doubled was, I mean, the only one on point, separated between their Reinhardt and the Winston, so they couldn't really do anything to get away. That was an excellent team fight. Good job, Yorba Linda.
Yeah, they had excellent target focus taking out Kale, and then the main healer as the Diva Bomb comes out will separate the team and get the elimination for Kale onto Cell, and quickly followed by Zombie, but their own Diva Bomb will take out Kale from Economic Bear. So with being a 2v, being up one for the side of CBC, only losing Kale. Now it is all-out siege as the Amplification Matrix comes out just to zone him out, denying the push onto point, but as it expires, CBC uses that speed boost to get right on top of him. So now the Death Blossom is going to come out from Yorba Linda. Same with the Deadeye landing onto Nade, but the Death Blossom will not get anybody as Jacob gets the pin. Quickly followed by another elimination onto Exclusivity. Economic Bear gets the boop onto Kale off the edge of the map. Jacob gets the Flame Strike onto Joe, and the MILF takes out E-double, finishing up this team fight. Yorba Linda playing very defensive.
And that they kind of had to. They were down a couple. Good job getting back into the point after they eliminated, because they were down in that fight, but they ended up winning, partially because Kale wasn't there, and Kale, for all intents and purposes, does seem to be CBC High School's carry, but they weren't there, and Yorba Linda has the defensive advantage on the point.
Yeah, and starting off with a great EMP from Nade, as well as both sound barriers coming out. Kale's going to get a two-piece onto both DPS of the side of Yorba Linda in the backline, and he's going to move on to the supports, taking out Zombie as CBC takes control of the point, getting that percentage back, trying to close the gap distance here as Eclipse gets a two-piece of their own.
And they've retaken the point. That was a great EMP landed by Nade there. That is what handed them that fight on a silver platter. We were talking about Kale, but this fight really belongs to Nade with that EMP. Now, if you're Yorba Linda, what you're looking to do this next fight is charge. You want M1 to charge a Death Blossom as fast as they possibly can, and you want to try to go in with that. And you also need to get some of these ultimates out from CBC High School because they have a massive ultimate advantage right now.
Yeah, and it looks like Yorba Linda's going to open up with their Diva Bomb, get one, but Eclipse says, I can do it better, and gets a two-piece onto both supports, quickly followed by Joe with the Flame Shot, getting a two-piece again with onto Jacob and M1, and they're even going to end it with a team wipe. CBC taking back the point and close the gap, now having the advantage.
The only three left on the point, however, are one DPS and both tanks, and it looks like Yorba Linda's setting up for a full team. Well, you can't full team push if your Baptiste is down.
Yeah, losing main healer so early on is detrimental for Yorba Linda as they quickly lose their main tank as well, quickly followed by Sella on the McCree and Economic Bear on that baby Diva. So now they just got to take out this Lucio, but he will charge off the edge. There goes Kale, but they were able to eliminate Zombie, and they win control.
Little bit of an unfortunate POV there, but good job on the win.
Yeah, hard fought though. Yorba Linda started off that fight very strong, but were not able to hold it out. So, Idaho Central Credit Union, apply for a job with the best place to work in Idaho, Idaho Central Credit Union, now hiring for positions like software developer, server administrator, workstation technician, information security intern, and DevOps engineer. Learn more and apply today at www.iccu.com/careers. Lot to break down in that game, and a very good showing for both sides because each, as you mentioned, each player and each team had their moment to shine.
If you're Yorba Linda, what you want to do to win is you want a team fight, right? Because Yorba Linda is the one of the two teams that has shown they are fully capable of going in, target focusing, doing all of that. If you're Yorba Linda, you don't want to mess around with any of the 1v1s. You've shown that you can team fight. You want to do that. That'll win you the game every single time. If you have all 6 people going after the same thing, it doesn't matter how skilled their Doomfist is or how skilled their Sombra is. You easy roll over them if you team play. However, if you are CBC, what you want to do to keep winning is, first of all, CBC does 2 things. First of all, they reset faster. Second of all, their DPS tend to get more value than the ones on Yorba Linda on an individual basis. And again, that goes out the window if you're team fighting. We haven't seen from CBC them really all get together and push at once. And that's working for them right now. They won first map. So if you're CBC, what you want to keep doing is resetting as fast as you can. And honestly, CBC is kind of the king of these scrappy fights right now.
Yeah, and I think also a thing that Yorba Linda has been doing very well is target priority on E-Double, the main healer of CBC, which has allowed them to win a lot of these team fights of take out Kel, take out E-Doubled, and you can win that team fight now because you took out their kind of two crutches of the team. Whereas on the side of CBC, we see them constantly take out the Baptiste first, which is the main healer for Yorba Linda. So going into this next match of Escort on Eichenwald, not a map we see very often, walk us through the strategies that we might see from both teams coming out here.
Like you just touched on, both main healers are often getting eliminated first, and that is literally the worst person to get eliminated first. And because these fights are so scrappy and they tend to be on a team basis, that main healer either needs to win the 1v1, which sometimes isn't possible. If you're on Baptiste, it's usually possible, depending on the DPS you're going. I mean, like, you're not going to win the 1v1 against a Reinhardt close quarters, but most DPS you can handle as Baptiste. And with Moira, most of the time you can, like, get away. You don't need to win the 1v1. But that is something both main healers need to do. They need to get better at expecting the DPS to come for them and kind of like subverting that, being ready for it. You can either get the outright elimination on the DPS, phase through your tanks and turn it into like a 3v1, or you can just completely disengage.
Yeah, so as we jump into Eichenwald for map number 2 for these two teams, it looks like, I believe, CBC is going to be on the defense first since they were in blue last time, and Yorba Linda in the red is going to be on attack. Both teams running the Reinhardt, which is a much more harder hold, but we're also going to see the Hanzo and the Cole Cassidy, two heroes we have not seen their full extent of going into Eichenwald. So on the attack with the Hanzo, do you think that's a very good pick going in for kind of an aggressive play style?
It's great because it provides a lot of like frontline shield pressure. Red team, the team with the Hanzo, that Reinhardt is going to have much more shield than the team without the Hanzo. And especially when you're having this fight at this Eichenwald choke, that's incredibly important.
Yeah, it looks like Kale is going to stick on that Doomfist as we take a look, but E-Double now swapping over to the Baptiste, no longer sticking on the Moira, so going a little bit modified of their last team comp, as things are already looking very good, as Cell is able to take out Kale so early on, but Eclipse and Joe taking out both Jacob and M1, as M1 was able to take out Nade before falling. So they were down their DPS, but already, as you mentioned, CBC has the faster re-engage. As Joe takes out Sellout, things are already looking very good for CBC on the defense, but they do get the first tick for Yorba Linda as they're trying to clean things up. Looks like Yorba Linda is going to have to go for the reset, as Zombie is going to end up having to suicide to get back.
The longer the fight goes, the more it tips in CBC's favor. CBC is good at these scrappy fights. CBC is good at resetting quickly and getting back into the fight faster than Yorba Linda can eliminate them. Yorba Linda needs to win the fight within the first 10 seconds, maybe. 10 seconds is going a little bit long if they don't want CBC to take it back over.
Yeah, and CBC is already starting off this team fight strong using both of their two ults that they had with the Amplification Matrix and Shatter, with the pin coming out onto Sal, quickly followed by Exclusivity, taking out Jacob, with M1 taking out Kale once again. M1 also taking out Nate, taking out both DPSs. Joe gets a 3-piece, taking out multiple members of Yorba Linda, and already that fight's been settled. But going into this next one, Yorba Linda has all 6 ults,
which they definitely could use to their advantage. They need to use them fast, and they need to use them aggressively. Aggressive play is the key to Yorba Linda's victory right now.
Yeah, they're going to open up with the Shatter as well as the Dragon Strike, try to get this fight settled before Nade gets back on point as he rolls in. Here comes both the Deadeye and the Diva Bomb coming out from CBC, using their 2 ults to very well extent compared to Yorba Linda, as Joe gets a 2-piece, taking out both DPS, and already they're pushing towards spawn.
We were talking about how Yorba Linda is doing better on team play right now, but CBC currently on defense, their main healers and both of their tanks and the McCree are all on the same, they're all on the same page. The DPS are kind of off doing their own thing, but most of CBC High School is playing together. They're playing to negate things like the Deadeye.
Yeah, and that Amplification Matrix way too far back for the side of Yorba Linda, as this fight was decided so early on, as once again, Joe and Kale are having a field day in the backline of Yorba Linda. That Deadeye was attempted as well, but could not break the shield in time, as the Baby Diva stall will come out as well.
Huge stagger. And that's something that CBC High School, they're doing better. They're doing better on the team play aspect. Yorba Linda tends to like scatter when somebody gets eliminated or an ultimate gets used. Yorba Linda, nice little headshot there, M1.
A great way to start off this team fight is taking out one of the main DPSs that has been kind of an issue for your backline on so many supports, but not able to take out Kel, dropping very low as the amplification matrix comes out, and a great flame strike will take out M1 in the backline as Kel takes out the other DPS. Yorba Linda is not able to protect these DPS as they are usually the first ones to fall in these team fights. I've come to notice as time is not on the side of CBC, and it looks like that if they have time to regroup, they might have enough time to try and re-engage with the Lucio speed boost as M1 now swapping over to the Torb.
Yorba Linda has one more fight, CBC has one more defense.
Yeah, and Joe opening up with a great shatter and a three-piece for his team, taking out Sellout, Zombie, and Jacob, followed by M1 finally getting his first elimination on this Torb, taking out Kale, but it will simply not be enough as now it is full out stall for Yorba Linda, but with the sound barrier coming out for CBC and his Eclipse taking out Guan, they're going to deny it with the charge stun and take round one, only allowing 41% on this point.
And that's because they were playing as a team. 5 of the 6 members of CBC were all doing the same thing, looking the same way, attacking the same people. And that's what happens when one team is team fighting and the other one's trying to like individual everybody. Because it's also especially hard to try to pick these 1v1s at a choke point. It's much easier to turn everything into an all-out like 1v1 elimination on control where there isn't really one side that's more defensively orientated. You can't do that through a choke. You can't run in there individually with your own plan and hope to get through. And CBC is definitely punishing Yorba Linda for that.
Yeah, they had attempted a lot of great pushes, but they always got counter-ulted much better. CBC was getting a lot more value from their ults consistently. And I definitely think that they should have swapped off the Hanzo a little bit earlier on after 2 Dragon Strikes did not get a single elimination from either of them. So going now over to the side of defense for Yorba Linda, it looks like they're going to start off with their own Torb.
And I expect something similar might happen here for Yorba Linda on the defense. I expect that CBC will maybe go in scrappier and Yorba Linda will play more as a team because it's kind of hard to not all shoot at the same thing if that same thing is coming from one place, i.e. the choke point. So I expect Yorba Linda to improve a little bit on this defense, and we'll see if it'll be enough.
Seems like they're going to go for the hard hold defensive play with the Sig and Orisa to the comp that we have not seen in this matchup so far, but already CBC looking very good, getting Guan down to half health as she's quickly going to have to heal up. Same with E doubled, but Kale getting taken out so early on by Jacob, quickly followed by Sal and Zombie, losing both supports for CBC. It looks like they're already going to have to regroup and go for another engagement.
And that's what we expected from Yorba Linda. It truly is hard to individual play when they're all coming from the same place. Like everybody makes the decision individually to shoot at the choke point, and I think that's what's helping Yorba Linda here, just like it helped CBC on defense the first time.
Yeah, and such an early elimination onto exclusivity just buys CBC less time to try to attack this point, as Yorba Linda's having a very good defense here, playing much closer together than we saw last time, as you mentioned, because once they lost one, they scattered, but now sticking very close together, utilizing the double shield, but the hack coming in from the back onto Jacob as the Molten Core comes out, trying to break down this Reinhardt shield the best they can, as he doubled is able to take out Cell first this time, quickly followed by Exclusivity and Eclipse taking out the utility that Yorba Linda, but a great shatter is going to come out to the remaining members of Yorba Linda as Joe, Exclusivity, Kale, and Joe once again, and Kale once again eliminating the remaining members of Yorba Linda. And that is it. One team fight. CBC takes it.
Just like you talked about, CBC ulted better, and so they win the game. And that is entirely what that last one came down to.
So we will throw it over to the Idaho National Guard, who is a proud supporter of Boise State esports. Top plays are even presented by the Idaho National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 job offerings, a $20,000 sign-on bonus, and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out to them on Twitch at iGuardGaming. So, Map number 2 will go over to CBC, bringing us to a Game 3 match and point for CBC if they can take it. So now the pressure is on for Yorba Linda. So going over to a true escort map for the third and final map, what are you expecting to see from these teams, and what map are you hoping to see?
I expect the defending team to have a massive advantage because, again, just like there's a choke, there are specific defensive points. You can only really look one way, and that's forward. It's not like Control where it lends itself more to those scrappy fights, and it's hard to unify your team for anything. I expect the team that defends first to win. Regardless of the map, I expect the team that defends first to win because I don't expect the attacking team to be able to push very far. The exception is if the attacking team is CBC, I think that they are the more likely of the two schools to break through a defensive hold not because their team play is just that much amazingly better, because because I expect them to get ultimate value and immediately win a fight just like they did before. The Sigma shield wasn't there. The Orisa didn't have time to put another shield down. She just used that cooldown, and so the Reinhardt took immediate advantage of that and single-handedly won them the fight with the help of the Amplification Matrix. The Amplification Matrix was definitely there. It definitely did its work, but the fight was won when the Shatter went down onto 4+ members.
So as we wait to get to map number 3, possibly the finale of this matchup, we are going to throw it over to a break, so we will be right back after these messages.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing our coverage of this best of 5 between Yorba Linda and CBC High School. I'm still your host, Brennan Burlett. With me is Colby D'Angelo Alloway to call all of the action. We're headed into map number 3, Escort. So, heading into this, CBC is up 2-0 right now. What are some things you're hoping to see for Yorba Linda to try to come back and bring us to a game number 4?
I think team fighting is going to be the biggest key to Yorba Linda's victory, as well as not only predicting ults, but using their own ults effectively. For example, like we just mentioned before we went to break, that Shatter is what won CBC. That's what won CBC that map. The amplification matrix definitely helped, but the fight was won when 5 people were on the ground, right? So Yorba Linda, with double shield, should have been able to predict that. So something that would help them immensely is predicting what ultimates are going to be used and being prepared to subvert those ultimates. Because most ultimates in this game, Shatter is another great example. Shatter can absolutely win you a fight. We just watched it, right? But Shatter is also an ultimate that is very easily, you can either get around the corner, or your Sigma can put out their shield, or your Orisa can put out their shield. There are definitely ways to get around that. And if Yorba Linda wants to win, they need to start getting around CBC's ultimates.
Yeah, one thing that could definitely help them win is Doc's keys to the game, as we can do a quick review as this is game number 3 in this best of 5. And in Overwatch, it's to never take a fair fight. And what does that mean? It's to take fights in unexpected places when they're unprepared and when you can have ability advantages. That's brought to us by Drop-In Gaming. Drop-In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play through your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry. Matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. And I will admit that I was wrong for game number 3. We are actually heading over to Assault, and it's going to be Hanamura, a map that we've been seeing more and more from both the high school and collegiate level play.
Team that I think my prediction is still the same. The team that defends first probably wins the game because everybody's looking at a distinctive choke, and unless the only exception to this rule is the only thing that is probably going to break this up from what we've seen from the team so far tonight is ultimates getting massive value. So I expect if there is a cap of 0.1 or even 0.2, I expect it to be off of the back of ultimates because neither team could break the other's defense. Like, for example, CBC could not break Yorba Linda's defense on Eichenwald until they use their ultimates. So it's likely that they won't be able to break Yorba Linda's defense if Yorba Linda's defending first without the use of ultimates. And the same is true for Yorba Linda.
So I believe we're going to see CBC defend first because Kale on this Doomfist has not changed anything. But we also did see an Ashe, which is a hero we have not seen any of these players play in this matchup, as well as a Roadhog. So do you think that is a good defensive strategy going up against Yorba Linda, who is sticking to the Diva Rhine comp, as well as the Sim Brawl?
I think the Sim Brawl definitely has the chance to catch defending team off guard. I expect something like that to happen. I expect Kale to either have the game of his life or not get a ton of value at all.
Well, already Eclipse taking out Jacob, that main front line for Yorba Linda as they teleport in, but it looks like M1 is quickly going to take out Joe. Oh, quickly followed by Kel taking out Sal. So good trade between these two teams, but exclusivity there with the Rez bringing back Joe for that main tank role as already Zombies getting taken out, and Kel's going to be able to eliminate both the Diva Mech and Guan on this Lucio, taking out the baby Diva for Eclipse, and Nade finishing off M1. So already CBC with a solid defense, kicking things off with an elimination on Jacob, and both Sellout getting hooked away by Eclipse.
Kale, Yorba Linda needs to be ready for Kale to dive in this first time. They were sort of ready for it the first time he did it. Nobody got eliminated, but they need to be aware of the Doomfist at all times.
Going for the symmetric play one more time, but going up top this time round, so you're going to have to watch out for that hook to try to hook any away members as they're going for the rotation on the side. But Kale is there to take out Zombie, quickly followed by M1 taking out Joe, but the Rez was not able to go off as the Diva charge was able to disrupt it, as well as M1 gets the elimination on the exclusivity, quickly followed by Eclipse bringing out the whole hog. Same with Kale bringing out his own Meteor Strike to disrupt the backline as best he can, taking out M1 as Eclipse is able to take out Economic Bear and demech her. Kale finishes off Jacob.
Exclusivity and Joe were the prize, but CBC will hold this point, and it's likely that they will both be back in time for next engage. You see them getting ready to set up here right now. So Yorba Linda, because they lost that fight and they didn't do it necessarily quickly, they will be back in time for the next engage, and Yorba Linda can't capitalize on that.
Seems CBC's already going to try to capitalize as a great hook did come out to M1, but was not able to eliminate as the sleep comes out onto Jacob and will deny him. But it looks like with the 3-piece coming out from Yorba Linda onto Kale, doubled, and Joe. Eclipse trying to even it out by taking out Cell, but M1's going to be able to take out Nade. So now it is all onto Eclipse, and it looks like he will get taken out by Economic Bear, quickly followed by Exclusivity getting taken out by Jacob. So Yorba Linda will cap this point, so CBC is going to have to hold this second point. Not even going to go for the Comp Swamp because they do have 3 ults on board.
Don't peek the M1 amplification matrix. Just don't respect the Baptiste amplification matrix. Yorba Linda did a great job. They got everybody on point at the same time, and CBC High School didn't have their full team on point. So it was a 3v6 on the point that Yorba Linda very quickly won. And then with the amplification matrix eliminating outside the Ashe, that definitely secured that for them. And now we're going into this next fight. We'll see if Ashe can get some Bob value.
Yeah, she started off on the rotation very early on, but Jacob with the great shatter is going to be able to get a 2-piece onto both Joe and Kale, quickly followed by Zombie taking out E doubled. But Nade with this dynamite is able to take out both DPSs from CBC, quickly followed by Eclipse getting taken out as M1 gets taken out by Exclusivity. Gotta love a Battle Mercy coming out to take out a fellow support member, as now Joe is going to swap over to the Wrecking Ball as Eclipse is able to take out Guan. But looks like CBC will hold it as Yorba Linda not able to take a single point as they won the high ground, but as soon as they got on point, they were taken apart.
And that was a nice attempt by Yorba Linda there. 2CP is just incredibly hard to cap because they respawn so fast. They get there immediately. We saw the ball swap so that they could be there immediately. And Yorba Linda just couldn't get through that. And it's unlikely that their up top right push will work again a second time, which is why they're going to go ahead and try to go bottom left.
Hopefully it will work because Nade will not have a sideline being all the way above, so it's going to be all about the dynamite as the Proton Barrier is going to come out, and M1 takes out Kale very early on, but as you mentioned, they have that spawn advantage, but instead they're just going to go for the res as Eclipse takes out M1 very quickly. So already down their main support as the Diva Bomb is going to come out from Yorba Linda and take out both Nade and Exclusivity, trying to even it up the best they can as they are only down 1 right now for CBC, but with that spawn advantage, Kale's going to have a field day taking out both Sellout and Jacob, quickly followed by Eclipse taking out Guan once again, demeching the Baby Diva, and now the stall coming out onto Economic Bear. CBC holds it.
CBC's Mercy is doing something that could potentially lose them this 3rd point. And what that, and it's a super micro thing, but they'll leave the Ashe to get a res, right? Which, understandable, right? Except Yorba Linda's Diva is waiting specifically for that moment when the Mercy leaves the Ashe, and that Ashe gets dove every time she leaves. And that's something that could easily end up with CBC High School down not 1, but 2, because if Ashe goes down, Mercy doesn't have some place to run to, right? And it's unlikely that the Diva would let her get the res on the Ashe if she eliminated her.
Yeah, but it looks like Yorba Linda's trying to start off this team fight in their favor, taking out Sellout so early on. But now Joe's able, with the mines and the whole hog coming out from both ults, coming out from the tanks, taking out Jacob and Zombie. As Guan is able to take out E doubled. So the sound barrier is going to come out for the side of Yorba Linda to keep them alive the best he can. Kale will be able to take out M1, quickly followed by Joe taking out Sellout and Kale taking out Bear. But Guan gets the boop onto Exclusivity to take out the healer before he falls to Joe. CBC still holding on as they gave a ton of space to Yorba Linda.
Yorba Linda would probably get more value out of, instead of a brawl comp, some sort of dive comp, because Yorba Linda is currently being assaulted on the high ground, and the only ones that can get up there are Diva and Lucio. And Diva Economic is out there trying their best. They are making an effort to contest the Ashe at every stop, but nobody else can get up there to help.
Yeah, so it looks like M1's going to attempt with the amplification matrix to zone them out, but they can simply just hide behind that pole. But Sellout is going to use that Deadeye to take out Kale, as now M1's going to lose that immortality field. Nade just flying out in the open, not even getting shot or dodging all of the bullets like it's the Matrix, as Joe with the mines again is going to be able to take out Jacob. Now the Diva Bomb coming out for the side of Yorba Linda is going to be not land onto anyone as Joe takes out the Baby Diva once again. Sellout's going to be able to take out E-doubled, but Kale's right there to get the refract for his teammate and take out Sellout with the charge punch, as Nate is able to eliminate M1 from that high ground, as you've been mentioning, just getting taken out as Eclipse now bringing out another whole hog. These tank players from CBD have been able to charge their hold so quickly. Finally, Nate is going to throw out Bob, but Yorba Linda never had a chance to get to that second point in time.
And Yorba Linda made an effort. There were a lot of things going right for Yorba Linda, but they didn't do one key thing. They were on a brawl comp, just kind of like getting assaulted from all directions, and Reinhardt does not deal well with being assaulted from all directions. He is not a hero that can do anything about that. And their Cole Cassidy wasn't able to get the value on the targets in the air and on the high ground. And so I think those were the two big things that definitely lost them that map, in addition to just the hard nature of second point 2CP to cap. So their defense will have to be rock solid here. And to their credit, we've seen improvement. We've seen them use their ultimates better. We've seen they do have the ability to hold this point if they all focus the choke and if they use their ultimates when they need to and aggressively. That is, ultimates is going to be the biggest issue Yorba Linda faces right now. And that's convenient because it's the easiest issue to rectify. So if you're a Yorba Linda fan, things are looking pretty okay for you right now, honestly. Because especially with Kale on the Doomfist, there's not really a lot of flanks you can do first point Hanamura. You have 2 entryways, right? And at that point, if you get flanked from 2 entryways, at that point, Kale deserves it. If you manage to sneak past all 6 of you, only having 2 ways in.
Yeah, you got to be able to have that split focus, especially among 6 teammates. One of you has to be able to see that, but already the double Wrecking Ball going flying past as Kale now finally swapping off the Doomfist onto the Echo, something we have not seen for this player, as exclusivity is going to be the pocket for Kale, and already getting elimination onto Economic Bear. Losing a frontline tank so early on is not what you want to see if you're a Yorba Linda fan, especially with Jacob just being the chaos causer that is Wrecking Ball, as Eclipse is going to get a 2-piece onto M1 and Zombie. Bit of a different team comp we've seen from Yorba Linda, but a giant suicide ball is going to come out here from Eclipse, Sellout, and Guan, but they're going to get practically this first point for free.
Thank you. The swap on the ball was questionable at best, especially when they stayed a whole map on Reinhardt when Reinhardt wasn't the optimal pick. The swap to ball instead of Reinhardt definitely hurt Yorba Linda because Economic had nobody there with them on the Sigma, which led to it getting immediately eliminated by the hard-pocketed Echo. And I think, to Yorba Linda's credit, they were expecting a Doomfist. I don't think they were expecting an Echo. And Echo, with her execution beam, is definitely not a hero that you want to be caught by surprise by. Nice elimination, nice hook by Eclipse.
Yeah, they started off that fight losing Kale, but immediately is going to even it out and be up 1 in this fight, but they do have spawn advantage, so CBC is going to have to play a little bit more reserved as he's trying to push towards that spawn and take out that Brig. Takes out the Tracer as well, but misses the hook as the Tracer goes right into the back line and gets the pulse bomb onto E-doubled. So Eclipse might be at fault for that, as Economic Bear on the Roadhog as well will be able to take out exclusivity on that Mercy. So CBC looks like they're going to have to go for the reset as they played very split in that fight. Nade still in the back line will get taken out by M1.
I think one of the biggest problems CBC was having on that push was they were not getting the hog hook value that they needed to, and it was also really unfortunate because we were on their POV the whole time. You're not going to hit every hog hook, but you need to hit some of them if you want to take 2 CP and if you want to get those eliminations.
This isn't day 1 Overwatch. You can't hook people from through walls or any of that jazz. This is modern day Overwatch. So going into this next team fight, already they're playing very close together, but Joe is just being the nuisance that is Wrecking Ball, trying to get any point pressure that he can and pull Jacob away. So already the great duplicate's going to come out onto the Cassidy, as Nade with the Dynamite is going to be able to take out Zombie, quickly followed by Joe taking out Economic Bear, and Kale is able to take out Sellout, but M1's there with the melee to take out Nade, as Guan is also able to get the rest, but Kale is with the denial with the Deadeye, takes it out, but CBC will quickly take it, as Yorba Linda was not defending the point as securely as they could. So CBC with a clean 3-0 sweep.
And they did it through some amazing ultimate usage, some stellar individual play, and they even started playing more like a team with every single map we went on. So good for CBC. This victory's got to feel especially good because they learned and improved as we were watching the games.
Yeah, so one of our proud sponsor is Esports Tower. You can learn from pro professionals as many players do. We sponsor a lot of their streams here, and we are very happy to have them where you can unlock your true talent over at esportstower.com, where some of these high school players can improve as well with a lot of their team play that they've been struggling with. So as we head over to matchup number 2 of the night, we're going to take a quick break. So we'll see you back here shortly.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Hello everyone, and welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing tonight with some more high school Overwatch with Meridian Tech going up against Bayside High. I am still your host, Brenner Bear Ladd. Joined with me is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. So we are heading into Meridian Technical, a team that we very well known and we've seen perform very well. So what are some highlights of this team that we know very well that you're looking forward to in this matchup?
Well, not to be biased, we don't have a lot of data on Bayside High, but we do have a ton of data on Meridian Technical, one of which is their Pocket Mercy Farah duo. We've seen them do incredible things with the Barrage and the Daydream. We've seen them do incredible things together, and it almost feels strange to mention one without the other because they are so often doing Pocket Mercy, Pocket DPS things together. Some other things from Meridian Technical that we've seen them execute a flawless, it was very nice, statue teleport on First Point Kings Row. So clearly Boise State has been giving them some of their tactical plays, so we expect to see not only more team play from Meridian Tech, but more like not individual play, but like duo play. We know Meridian Technical has strong duos that work well together. but they also are capable of executing collegiate level team strategies to great effect. So tonight will be a great matchup.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to once again start off on control with Lijiang Tower. And with that pharmacy, it will work on some of the maps, but not all of the maps. So hopefully they do not start on the indoors map for this matchup between Meridian Technical and Bayside High. One thing these teams can take knowledge of is hopefully Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch we can go over before we jump into this matchup. As we know in Overwatch, for Doc's keys to the game is to never take a fair fight. And what does that mean? Is to take fights in unexpected places, when they are unprepared, and when you can have ability advantages. Doc's keys to the game brought to us by Drop-In Gaming. Drop-In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play through your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at Drop-In Gaming. So I'm ready to jump into this match. If you are, a lot to look forward to in Lijiang Tower. We could see the typical sim brawl that we see from so many teams, but as you mentioned, this pharmacy is kind of a staple for Meridian Technical, and so hopefully that is something we get to see.
And if we don't get to see it, I'm sure we'll see it on later maps. If we don't see it here, the only map in Lijiang that will probably be the biggest threat to Meridian Technical is Control Room, because you cannot run a Pharah there. I mean, we've seen teams attempt it, but it never goes very well for them because the Pharah simply can't get set up.
Yeah, so it looks like both teams are going to go for the sim brawl, but Bayside High is not going to have Gamer Val with them, as this is still deciding on what DPS. So Meridian Technical is going to get a pretty easy first team fight on this control point, as it is practically going to be a team wipe, as not their whole team was even there, trying to get the elimination onto Cadozer, trying to run back, but he will get back in time. Now Neptune has to get back as well. Very clean fight for Meridian Technical going into it in a 5v6.
And again, we don't have a ton of data on Bayside High, so I can't talk up their players, but for Meridian Technical, we see Eternal Flame returning. We know that they're an exceptional off-tank, especially on that Zarya that they're currently on, so we expect to see some value there with Fem Neptune on the hyper-aggressive Reinhardt.
Yeah, and already a great double flashbang coming out from the side of Meridian Technical onto both tanks, as the Shatter's now coming out as well for Meridian Technical, and they're going to get another great team fight, not losing a single member, as Bayside High loses both DPS and both tanks, quickly followed by Cadozer and Gubbles. A near team wipe, but Gamer Val and Xeno came back just in time.
And Soup is another amazing Cole Cassidy player. We see Soup oftentimes without the pocket, but he just becomes more dominant with the pocket on that Cole Cassidy, getting not only insane flashbang value like you mentioned, but also picking people out of the sky for the enemy. Ooh.
Yeah, the Shatter attempt coming out from Bay High is going to land on a couple of members, but now the Sound Bear is going to come out from Meridian Technical and immediately get the refrag onto Xeno, as they lost their own Reinhardt, but quickly taking out Gubbles and Dozer, as the Deadeye comes out for Soup. Not going to be able to land on any members, but will take out the Diva mech as Burning finishes off the Baby Diva, and they already own the point once again. Bayside High not able to get on point, but with the turret will be able to take out Daydream,
who will probably be back before their next engage, unless they decide to push right now, which it does look like they're trying to, and especially now that they're up 2.
This is where you want to take it, as the Bob even eats Eternal Flame's grab, and they kill Burning before he can even activate his Photon Barrier. So this is a very good attack coming in from Bayside High, as Swoobies is also able to take out Soup. A very clean engagement for Bayside High.
The bomb is definitely the carry for that fight, not only eating the grab, but also leading the push with a Xeno going against Meridian Technical when they knew they were down their support, and then the extra pick just handed the fight to Meridian Technical, who didn't back off. Instead, they grabbed when they were down 2, which was questionable at best, and Bayside High absolutely took advantage of it.
Yes, so Meridian Technical now going for the side push, as the Deadeye is going to come out for Gamer Val. A 3-man Shatter is going to come out for Meridian Technical, but he will lose his life to the Deadeye, as he is able to get the charge onto Flame and gets the elimination from it, as Swoobies is able to eliminate Burning as they throw down the Photon Barrier, no less. Bayside High is able to counteract the ultimates coming out from Meridian Technical very well.
We know that Fem Neptune is an exceptional Reinhardt, and part of what makes them exceptional is their aggressiveness. It's not working against Bayside High. Maybe chill a little bit. It works against most teams, It is not to your benefit right now, though, Meridian Technical, to play as aggressive as you normally would.
Now, so going for the top teleporter play, it seems, or they're just going to go for as much poke that they will go for the teleport right onto the point, right into those turrets, as the Photon Barrier as well as the Diva Bomber are going to come out for the side of Bayside High, quickly followed by the Valkyrie and the Sound Barrier coming out from Meridian Technical to negate them the best they can, but Gamer Val is going to get the first elimination onto Fem Neptune, quickly followed by Burning taking out Gubbles, but the res is going to come out to Fem Neptune as Swoobies takes out Soup, so Bayside High is going to be down their support and their main tank as Swoobies quickly takes out Eternal Flame. Gamer Val taking out Daydream, and Swoobies getting a 2-piece onto Dragonfire and Fem Neptune once again as Swoobies finishes out with a 3-piece. Diva Mech even lost there, so the Baby Diva is still running around for Bayside High, but the Amplification Matrix is going to help the zoning with Bayside High, trying to secure this point at the 99%. The grab comes out, but it is simply not enough. Bayside High takes point number 1 after losing the first 2 team fights.
Swoobies carry, question mark? That was an absolutely exceptional fight, and this is where we see Meridian Technical, they pushed too hard and backed up too late, and so this was this single fight is what let Bayside High win the game, because this was the fight that kind of changed everything. So instead of Meridian, and this is the indoor map where they will likely not get burning Pharah value, which burning wasn't even on Pharah last map either. They were getting incredible Symmetra value. But that was the fight that completely changed everything. It didn't let Fem Neptune be as aggressive as they wanted to be. It took Eternal Flame's grab, which is usually a fight winner. If they had come back with that grab, they might have been able to flip some things. But they weren't able to charge the one until the very end. And so now as we set up, both teams are in the room. GamerVal on the Junkrat. I expect to see some gigantic value there.
Yeah, especially going up against Burning on that Doomfist, as he had a very good temp shield built up, but Xeno getting the first elimination on the Fem Neptune already means they're going to have to give up the first team fight, because losing that front line, especially up against a Junkrat, as you mentioned, who's going to get a ton of value in this matchup, especially as they just held that corridor so early on. Did take out Daydream just to stall him out a little bit longer, but they win the first team fight. But if it's anything from last game, the first team fight does not mean all that much, because they quickly came back and took it for the third one. But GamerVal just lobbing grenades here as the artillery piece at this point is able to take out Dragonfire, and Swoobies takes out Daydream. Marine Technical is just going to have to waste even more time waiting for their 2 supports to come back.
Bayside High is running a hard spam comp, and Meridian Technical, a couple members have walked into it, so I would 100% say that they're not ready. We have a Xeno holding the front line very hard there against the doorway. That's really the only way Meridian Technical can come in through, and they're coming in through Junkrat Mines and a Xeno Rhine with the Bomb Diva.
Yeah, and Swoobies even with the Symmetra setting up the car wash, but seems Meridian Technical is going to go for a practical whole team comp swamp with Soup now on the Genji, Fem Neptune on the Winston, and Daydream back on this Mercy. He misses the charge off the edge for Swoobies, and Swoobies will get the elimination onto Burning as the Shatter comes out for Bayside High onto 4 members, I believe, of Meridian Technical. This is their fight. Bayside High holding this defense, and you have to wonder what's going through Burning's head after missing that charge onto Swoobies on the edge.
You genuinely have to wonder what was going through their head the entire time, because they charged through Symmetra turrets and Junkrat mines, and they were inside, but they were the only one inside, and Burning's a braver man than I.
Yeah, so now I hope Meridian Technical is going to finally go through the only other door that they can, right into the Amplification Matrix and the Junkrat bombs, as so many members are falling left, right, and center. Burning's doing their best, but will fall once again. Now at 90% mark, at best they have one more team fight with the Lucio speed boost, but not even having Burning on the board. Soup does have the Genji blade, but won't even be alive to use it, as Swoobies make sure to take him out very quickly. Now going for the outside play with the Valkyrie to fly there and get as quickly as possible. Will be able to contest with the 2 supports of the Lucio and even get the res off of Fem Neptune as quickly as he is eliminated. Now the tire is going to come out and get both Fem Neptune and Dragonfire. So Nexio gets the Flame Strike elimination onto Eternal Flame, quickly followed by a charge onto Soup, and Swoobies takes out Burning. Bayside High will refuse to lose a single team fight and end this game with a team wipe.
Daydream is trying very hard to support their team, and I respect it.
Yeah, they tried their best, and it was a hard-fought victory for sure. But we throw it over to the Idaho Central Credit Union, where you can apply to work for the best company in Idaho, the Idaho Central Credit Union, now hiring for positions like software developers, server administrator, workstation technician, information security intern, and DevOps engineer. Learn more and apply today at www.iccU.com/careers. A great first game for Bayside High.
Meridian Technical fell victim to something they have fallen victim to before on cast, and I would say that Control Room was less an example of Meridian Technical skill. Like, they weren't just getting completely skill rolled, but they were on entirely the wrong comp for the situation that they were in, and this is something that we've seen on cast before. You try to go into a closed corridor, you try to walk into the Azael Rhine, the Gamer Val Junkrat, you try to walk into that with Doomfist Genji Winston, and it's just not going to pan out for you. It doesn't matter how capable of a Winston you are, how capable of a Genji you are, how capable of a Doomfist you are, because I'm sure Soup and Burning and Fem Neptune are all very capable on those heroes, but when you dive into an enclosed space, you use your one movement ability to engage into a Junkrat Reinhardt Symmetra brawl, it's just not going to work for you. And we watched possibly the finest example of that when the Winston finally came in, used the bubble immediately, trying to like eat some of that Junkrat spam. You just can't do it. You just can't jump in the room and expect to live. And half of Meridian Technical was doing that the whole map.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard loss for Meridian Technical, but we are going to throw it to a break before we jump into map number 2, which is going to be Assault. So we will be right back after these messages.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing our coverage of Meridian Technical going up against Bayside High. We are heading into map number 2 with Bayside High taking map number 1 on Lijiang Tower. I am still your host, Brenner Bearlat. Joined with me is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. heading into map number 2, which is Assault, I believe, everyone's favorite game mode. We see kind of the same plays coming out from Meridian Technical of just, we're going up against the Junkrat, we're just going to charge into them as something you touched on. So now going into Assault, hopefully we don't see that same sin repeat.
I doubt we will, because I doubt the map will be just as close quarters as that, to have the Junkrat and the Reinhardt just have a death grip on everything that's going on. But dive is just definitely not the answer to that. It looks like our Assault map is going to be Hanamura, which is very open. It's unlikely that something like that will happen. We might see both teams pulled out Symmetra, and both teams got some really good Symmetra value. So I expect to see some of that on Hanamura as well as we saw it on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, so heading over to Hanamura, these teams are definitely going to need Doc's keys to the game. And in Overwatch, that means to never take a fair fight. But what does that mean? It means to take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared and when you can have ability advantages. Once again, Doc's keys to the game brought to us by Drop-In Gaming. Drop-In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play through your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. And to begin your competitive gaming journey, make sure to reach out to them and sign up at dropingaming.com. So map number 2, Hanamura into Assault. We are ready to jump into this matchup, whereas Meridian Technical has a lot to prove going into this next matchup of we need to have a bit more variety in our attack strats or even defense strats, dealing with kind of a high DPS that is base side high that we've seen from them so far.
If Meridian Technical defends, they need to unbind Reinhardt Charge, if they have Reinhardt Charge, because that got them into a lot of trouble on Lijiang. And especially if you go past this first choke point as Reinhardt, it doesn't matter if you're the best Reinhardt in the game. If there's like more than 2 people on the other side, you're definitely going to be sent all the way back to spawn and your team loses their front line. There's the Symmetra that we were expecting. This is the Bastion strat that Boise State gave to Meridian Tech. So I fully expect Bayside to not be ready for it.
Yeah, and they're going to go right up top past Swoobies on that McCree, but already going to give it up and swap over to the point. He's going to have to move a bit further over left if he wants to be able to get the silence onto so many important members. Swooby's very low will finally end up falling to Eternal Flame on this Bastion. We did swap over from that tank roll. Now the bomb and Anexio on the tank roll. As Eternal Flame took over. As Big Boof is swapping in for the tank, will be able to take out Anexio as Eternal Flame takes out the Mercy, but the Daydream is able to get the res onto Supa after he quickly lost his life to Gamerval, but it looks like Meridian Technical is going to win this first team fight and take the point.
And this Symmetra Bastion teleporter strat is definitely something that Boise State has talked to Meridian Technical about, so that's straight where this is coming from. We mentioned it in the beginning that Meridian Technical is capable of executing collegiate level strats, and this was a perfect example. No BM to Bayside High, they were not ready for that, and how could they be, honestly?
Yeah, now they're going to have to be able to counteract it for point number 2 to see if Assault will be the snowball that it could be or the long siege. As it looks like they're getting ready, the tank form at 95% for Eternal Flame.
A teleporter will likely get them the snowball here.
Yeah, and the Winston tries to go for the jump onto it, but he's getting burned down. The Immortality Field trying to keep him alive, but they burned it down just as quick as he even jumped out of the range. So Nexio is going to get taken out quickly, followed by Big Boof is taking out Swoobies. Eternal Flame takes out Dozer once again. The tank fort comes out for him as Big Boofus takes out McDoubles. Gamerwall doing their best to even throw out Bob as Cadoza swaps over to the Moira. Big Boofus will be able to take out Gamerval's Bob, everyone's favorite hero in the game, as the bomb does lose his mecha in the Baby Diva form. And Nexio, swapping over to the Wrecking Ball in full stall. Bayside High is doing their best to cut this out, but Meridian Technical is halfway there and getting so close to that team wipe. Gamerval at 1 HP is finally going to contest, lose their life. Meridian Technical will take it, as once again, Assault being that snowball game mode with 4 minutes and 50 seconds on the board.
And this is another perfect example of monkeys jumping places where they should not be. Usually as a monkey, you want to use your movement ability. You can use it to engage, but you don't want to use your movement ability to get into the middle of the entire enemy team. That is never something you want to do as monkey, and it's something that a lot of monkeys struggle with. We've seen both monkeys on both teams tonight do exactly that. And don't. If you are a monkey player, as affectionately as possible, if you use your jump to jump into 5 or more people by yourself, you're using it wrong. And I totally understand you want to stop the Bastion before they get set up, but it doesn't take Bastion very long to set up, and especially with the rest, even if the Bastion wasn't set up, let's say your monkey jump got there in time, the rest of their team is going to eliminate you before you do anything with your Tickle Tesla cleave gun.
Yeah, and even then they did throw the immortality field up there, but he was just so panicked. He jumped out of it, died, and then they killed the immortality field. So it was just that much more worse to watch of just like, come on, man. Like, you had the opportunity to even deal a little bit more damage and stay alive, and he gave that up. So Monkey's jumping is definitely an issue.
This is the Eternal Flame Daydream. This is the Eternal Flame duo that we were going to talk about, that with the Pharah, this is what does. This is definitely one Meridian Technical some maps, and it's going to give Bayside High some problems.
Yeah, especially with such an early elimination from Big Boofus taking out Nexio, who's now on the DPS Symmetra role. Also, Gamerval swapping over to the Mei. They're definitely going to go for that close brawl, it seems. Not able to even get the teleporter out just yet because Nexio was taken out so early on. Eternal Flame already up to that 30%, just yeeting rockets across this line. Daydream's up to the 70% for that Valkyrie, and Dragonfire's up to the 60% for that Nano boost. So they're just waiting for the teleporter to engage, and here it comes possibly. Go for the teleport right onto point to kick off this first team fight, and the Great Maywall is going to cut things off as Eternal Flame goes right in and gets taken out by Nexio's turrets as he got set up in time, quickly followed by the bomb, and Swooby's taking out the supports for Meridian Technical as the Nexio takes out Fem Neptune and Swoobies takes out Soup. So it looks like Bayside High will take this first point very cleanly. Just took them a little bit longer.
Nobody's ready for the Symmetra teleports this map, Bayside. But I will say that Bayside High, the main thing for them there was Gamerval with the Mei wall. That is what won them the fight. The Symmetra teleporter got them there. So great job, Azino, who has swapped over to the Symmetra off of the Reinhardt and the Monkey. Huge anti. Oh my gosh, Dragon.
Yeah, kicking off a huge anti, quickly followed by a great nano into Feb Neptune as he is able to take out Swoobies in that 1v1, but DeBomb was able to take out Dragonfire as, but the res is going to come out to bring him back very quickly. The point, hello, anybody? Are we C9ing ourselves?
It doesn't matter, there's nobody there that can cap it, honestly, so they just kind of
I mean, they had a solid defense. They tried to push in and just got quickly wiped, but we were
talking about the Mei wall as the main reason Bayside High got the point. Dragonfire's anti-nade is why Bayside High didn't get that second point. They naded, okay. Eternal Flame peaked for just a second too long, overstayed their welcome of relatively little consequence, the benefits of having a Mercy.
Laughs even coming out from the production room as that was kind of a misplay on the side of Eternal Flame poking that wall with those Mei icicles flying through, trying to counteract the high ground, but Meridian Technical has a lot of ults on their side, so Nexio will throw down that photon barrier, try to block it up, but we do hear the tire coming out in the backline. We'll be able to take out Nexio once again, being very consistently the first member of Bayside High eliminated as Swoobies will be able to take out Fem Neptune, but the ultimate's coming out for Meridian Technical as the Barrage is able to take out Mr. Gobbles. Big Boofus with the whole hog taking out Swoobies. The Bomb using his own Diva Bomb to take out Daydream as Eternal Flame will finally be able to take out Dozer. Bayside High is going to have to go for the reset though, as Diva was the last one alive.
Oh, she got the health back. That's unfortunate. That just kind of feeds
more ult percentage. I'm a Roadhog now. Take more ult.
Daydream was the price, but ultimately they kept the point, so you can't be too mad about it, especially since you got the ultimate, the Diva Bomb, out of it as well.
They got a lot of ultimates out of the Barrage and the whole hog, so now going into it, they have the Blizzard. They just have to, they don't even have to worry about the Diva eating it, but a great shatter onto 3 members of Bayside High is going to slow down the push as Big Boofus takes out Nexio, who swapped over to that Soldier 76 as Eternal Flame once again takes out the main healer for Bayside High, quickly followed by Soup taking out Swoobies and Gamerval. This Junkrat has been uncontested hit for either side, who determines to run it, as Daydream's even going to get the res onto Big Boofus. The hook attempt on the Baby Diva, but she was not at the mech in time. So Meridian Technical is going to hold it on this defense once again.
And we have a Xeno and Gamerval both switching to hit scan because they have decided that Eternal Flame on the Pharah is a problem. And that's true. Eternal Flame on the Pharah is a problem. But so is Soup on the Junkrat. We have seen
you can only counteract
amazing
one DPS,
Junkrat play.
and so it opened up the gateways for Soup. You're totally right.
And I will say that the hit scan, it'll hurt the Pharah, but especially with that Xeno swap onto the Echo, the Junkrat is not uncounterable for Bayside High right now.
Yeah, and actually a really good start to kick off this team fight is a great boop that will pump off two of the members from Meridian Techno, but they quickly regroup as Eternal Flame takes out Swoobies, and Big Boof has got a great hook elimination onto an Nexia who swapped over to an Echo.
Diva?
Diva's just absorbing all the damage because, as we mentioned, they're just playing Roadhog at this point. They're just here to feed ult charge. They didn't go for the med pack this time, tried to go for the suicide off the edge, but does not make it as Daydream takes them out with the battle. Mercy, we'd love to see it as Soup takes out Gubbles as well.
So, I will amend my earlier statement in saying that the Junkrat is uncounterable, because Junkrat is absolutely uncounterable if you keep going that top right enclosed space.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
You counter Junkrat by not going in the enclosed space. Bayside High is not going to be able to get any value pushing top right.
Especially with an Echo in a close range, as you mentioned, they need to go for the left play, even if it's not a symmetric play. Just go across the bridge, and that's what you want to see if you're Bayside High with Gamerval taking out Eternal Flame, but the res does come out. The Tire will only be able to eliminate the Immortality Field, but Gamerval's there with the Deadeye to take out Daydream as Dragonfire gets the elimination with the anti-nade onto Godozer, taking out that main support once again. But now the whole Hog's coming out. Same with the Barrage. Meridian Technical loves lining up these ults as the Shatter came out as well. Meridian Technical just said ahead, we're going to press Q at the same time and win the team fight. Bayside High has a time for maybe one or two more team fights if they can use that Lucio speed well enough.
Bayside High needs to not push top right, because not only are they walking in the Junkrat spam, which by itself is enough to stop you from going top right, they're also walking into Pharah spam, because Eternal Flame is in that doorway the whole time, waiting for them to get through, waiting for them to barrage with a hard pocket. It's just not the play. The play would be to go around. You could either teleport far left, and then neither the Junkrat, the Pharah could cross the map to get to you, but then at that point, it's 2v6. It's a Pharah and a Mercy walking into both hit scan. If you want to win and you're Bayside High, you go far left.
Yeah, this is going to be their last team fight with such an early stall eliminating Gamerval from Eternal Flame, so now they're going to go on the bridge, but losing Swooby so early on as your main barrier is not what you want to see if you're Bayside High, especially with Soup dropping right down on him. He's very low, but will get taken out by Big Boof, so there goes Swooby's. Gamerval is able to take out Eternal Flame, but once again, an uncontested res going out from Daydream onto Eternal Flame, bringing him back. Gamerval is trying their best, takes Eternal Flame out once again, and next year with the duplicate will get taken out by Soup, as Soup also takes out the Baby Dewa. Even the Tire coming out to take out Gamerval. A very clean team fight from Meridian Technical. Gamerval tried their best to counteract this far, but the Mercy reses were never contested. So good on Meridian Technical. Holding that solid defense will bring us to another game here. But so we throw things over to the Idaho National Guard. They will bring us as well as our top 5 plays of the night, but they are one of our proud sponsors, and they do offer 10 jobs with a $20,000 sign-on bonus to join one of the best teams out there, the Idaho National Guard. And you can even reach out to them on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Thank you, Idaho National Guard, who is actually a part of our Call of Duty Giving Games that is going to be going on tomorrow, which is an exciting thing to kind of tease coming up. But a very solid game from both sides, but Meridian Technical came out on the defense.
I really need to say, Gamerval, great job. If you eliminate the Pharah twice in the same fight, multiple fights, it is definitely not your fault that your team is still having problems with the Pharah. Because this is one of the fights where we see Gamerval get the elimination on the Pharah twice, immediately. So Pharah gets rezzed, gets instantly eliminated again. So the res didn't even matter. And that is, good job, Gamerval. You did your job. I cannot say anything else for you there. We've seen some issues with Cole Cassidy tonight. We've seen some Cole Cassidy's not getting value on things flying in the air. Gamerval, that's not you, buddy.
He carried his weight for sure, and as we mentioned in this high school level player, we're going to see a lot of strong individual level play coming out from these players, but maybe not a strong team level play. So as we wait to go into the next round, we're going to take a quick break and throw it to these messages just for you.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing our coverage of Meridian Technical going up against Bayside High. We just finished up map number 2, I believe, on Hanamura on that Soul came out for Meridian Technical, winning that. So now it is a 1-1 in this best of 5. We're heading over to map number 3. I'm still your host, Brendan Barrellat. Joined with me is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. So a very hard-fought win for Meridian Technical with a solid defense. Gamerville trying their best for Bayside. Kind of, I don't want to say the carry of their team, but definitely pulling their weight compared to everybody else. So going into map number 3, a lot of eyes are going to be on Gamerville.
A lot of eyes are going to be on Gamerville, especially if they're on that Cole Cassidy, kind of comparing their performance to what they did before. And Eternal Flame, I expect Eternal Flame to probably play a little bit more conservatively, or at least be aware of Gamerville specifically, because Eternal Flame is repeatedly getting eliminated immediately after Resurrects. And it's not necessarily very impactful. Like, Gamerville is getting the elimination onto the Faras twice a fight, every fight, right? But then Gamerville gets eliminated by somebody else because Gamerville is hard focusing the Pharah, which is not necessarily your fault if you're the DPS that's meant to counter the Pharah on the Cole Cassidy. If you counter the Pharah, that's your job. But the immediate elimination of Gamerville gives Eternal Flame free reign.
Yeah, so hopefully these teams will take God's keys to the game into account, as in Overwatch, that to never take a never take a fair fight, which means to take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared and when you can have ability advantages, something we've seen from both teams actually taking advantage of, and that's brought to us by Drop-In Gaming. Drop-In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, make sure to begin your competitive gaming journey and sign up at dropingaming.com. We are ready to jump into match number 3 for Bayside going up against Meridian Technical. So heading into this next matchup, what are some things you are hoping to see from these teams, especially after touching on Ducks teased the game for them, as we're heading over to Dorado. Ooh.
Well, if you're the defending team on Dorado, what you really want to do is leverage that high ground as well as you can until they get past that arch, in which point you want everybody to engage on them at once. But Dorado first point is kind of awkward because if you're the attacking team, for a while, you kind of just have to get shot at as you push the cart up to that arch, and then the true fight begins.
Yeah, but already the Winston trying to contest the high ground the best he can and clear out some space for his attacking team, as it looks like Bayside High is in the red and Meridian Technicals in the blue on defense first. They will finally jump down, but the Winston jumps right in on the backline, but Big Boofus is going to get the first elimination onto Swoobies with a great hook and melee, as Daydream even gets the boop elimination onto Nexia, quickly followed by Gamerval pulling their weight, once again taking out Daydream, first elimination, quickly followed by taking out Soup. Gamerval and this Tracer in the backline's doing work for their team right now because Bayside High has the spawn advantage. They may also doing their best to try to counteract this push, but they're going to keep pushing the cart even with their more higher speed dive tanks that they have going in. As the Winston, as we mentioned, jumping problems right into Eternal Flame, and Big Boofus on the Roadhog will get taken out by Gamerval, as well as Swoobies. Gamerval's popping off, definitely being the carry for Bayside, and the Pulse Bomb taking out Daydream once again.
Who just got back.
Exactly, so Soup now taking out Mr. Gubbles, Cadozer taking out Soup, able to get that refrag for his fellow support, but Meridian Technical is going to have to give up point number 1 because Gamerval is kind of running around uncontested and Soup hasn't been able to counteract it.
And so here's the thing about Gamerval. Gamerval is eliminating everybody that Tracer should not be able to eliminate. Gamerval got the elimination onto the Briggs. They got the elimination onto the McCree, and then they got the elimination onto the Roadhog.
Yeah, but Meridian Technical is going to throw it right back with a great Blizzard from Eternal Flame, even dodging out the bomb, not being able to eat it up, as Soup finally is able to use his roll and take out Gamerval. Now the Nano's going to come out for the side of Bayside High as the Gratific Flux comes out to try to counteract it, and ult's coming out from every side. Gratific Flux coming out, not getting anybody, but setting up Soup for the Deadeye, gets a 2-piece, quickly followed by the Bomb getting their own 2-piece with the Diva Bomb, as Neptune's trying his best to hold the front lane. Will take out Nexia as the whole hog coming out from the side of Big Boop is not able to eliminate anyone, but clears the space. Bayside High is going to have to regroup for this next team fight.
Cabadozer definitely made a distinct effort, probably pumped out maybe 1,500, 2,000 healing that fight, trying to sustain their team. They weren't ultimately able to, but I see you, Anna. I see your efforts. An attempt was made. And we see the Daydream swap back over onto the Mercy after they were getting hard countered on Brig, which is very respectable. There's nothing wrong with, if you're getting countered on a hero, swapping to something you're more comfortable on. And Meridian Technical definitely seems to be doing better for it.
Yeah, especially with such an early elimination from Gamerval onto Soup coming out from Bayside High, but Daydream's another uncontested res. This is a problem that I think Bayside High is going to need to address in the future, as once again another uncontested Blizzard's going to come out from Meridian Technical and get the elimination onto Cadozer before Big Boofus, as Swoobies brings out the Death Blossom to take out Daydream, quickly followed by Gamerval taking out Eternal Flame, as Eternal Flame takes out Mr. Gubbles before passing out, as Anexio is able to take out that Cassidy, as Dragonfire is able to get a 2-piece there. Nexineo does get to finish it out. Bayside High wins that final team fight, but only the 2 tanks remain.
The 2 tanks, and there is a Tracer in Gamerval skulking around there somewhere. There is, coming from the high ground.
Yeah, so this being a best of 3, this is the last game for both teams, as Gamerval's doing their best, but will get taken out by Big Boofus, as Daydream bringing out another res for his team onto Soup, as Gubbles is able to take out Dragonfire in the backline, quickly followed by Big Boofus getting the refrag for his team, but Nexio's there to take out Big Boofus. These constant refrags between these 2 teams is going to kill me.
And we see Soup getting incredible value on the Cole Cassidy. Soup and Gamerval have been very back and forth on who wins the 1v1 between the Cole Cassidy and the Tracer. Usually that is a matchup that heavily favors the Cole Cassidy because they have the insta-stun and the insta-elimination. But if you as a Tracer are able to not do that and kind of like play around your enemy like we've seen Gamerval do, that is a 1v1 you can win. Gamerval obviously didn't this time.
Yeah, Meridian Technical also went for the kind of the same play, where use Gratific Flux to knock him up, and Soup's there with the Deadeye, but it will not pay off this time. Instead, they're just going to win out the brawl against Bayside High here with Eternal Flame and Soup doing their DPS job, taking out both tanks, swiftly followed by Fem Neptune, taking out Mr. Gubbles, and Soup taking out the Dozer. As their Eternal Flame wins that 1v1 against Swoobies, so Meridian Technical will win this defense.
If you're Bayside High, what you really want to do is kind of get them in an enclosed area. We're not close enough to Blizzard to do anything, but we need Gamerval to get on their back line, and there are a number of flank opportunities that Gamerval can do that. Avoid the Roadhog and get on, ideally, Daydream or Dragonfire to at least distract them from the team fight.
Yeah, and hopefully we do see that happen. The Gamerval is able to distract Big Boofus, but his team's going to do the best to keep him alive. But a great pulse bomb coming out from Gamerval is going to be able to take out Eternal Flame and Big Boofus, but Daydream's there with the res to bring him right back. But Soup is finally able to take out Gamerval with the bomb, coming in with his own Diva Bomb, taking out Daydream and Fem Neptune. Soup comes in with his own two-piece, taking out both supports for Meridian Technical. Big Boofus taking out Soupies as the bomb's able to finish off Soup. Constant back and forth between these teams, but Bayside High is not able to push this card.
Bayside High had the right idea with the going in the enclosed room and forcing them to meet them there with the Maywall. They had the right idea there. Where they fell apart was in the execution. Not only did we have like different team members not go in that room, but they also just got out ulted. And Lucio peaked the high noon, which is never what you're looking for.
Gotta love a cheeky Lucio, especially if he lost that and cost your team the victory. But Bayside High is starting off very strong with both the Nano and elimination onto Daydream, even taking out the Immortality Field as Dragonfire was making sure to get the Revrag, taking out the Diva Mech. The Blizzard is going to come out for Swoobies and not get eaten up because they made sure to target that Diva, taking her out as Meridian Technical doesn't even have a Diva. But Bayside High there with the Nexio able to get a two-piece Gamerval, making sure that they're down 3 members, getting very close to capping this card. Now Meridian Technical is going to have to get strong on the defense in order to get it, but they won't even get there. So round 1, a 3-point victory for Bayside High.
And honestly, with 1:16 left on the clock, that was an exceptional defense. I mean, you usually expect teams that are similar levels. You expect teams that are of similar skill levels to cap. It's just the amount of time that they have when they cap. And 1:16, while not bad, definitely isn't optimal either. So it wasn't a terrible defense. It was a good attack, though, managing to get all 3 points. On this next fight, what we want to see is the defenders. We want to see them not only leverage the high ground, but also be able to regroup at the arch. I mention that every fight, but that is incredibly important. And then once you get to second point, if it goes to second point, you also want to monopolize the high ground. Because even though the detriment there is you can't directly contest the cart, but you have free reign to shoot down on everybody that is contesting the cart, and unless they have a mobile team, they can't do anything about it, which is why on Dorado it's really important to utilize high ground, which currently who we've been seeing do that to greatest effect is Gamerval, to get in and out of engagements and to win those 1v1s against the Cole Cassidy, against the Brigade, against the Roadhog. The Tracer usually has no business winning, and as we see, we go through the underground little pan there, a little bit of a show off but on the side of our production, amazingly done. And it looks like Meridian Tech is now pulling out the Eternal Flame Daydream Far Mercy.
Yeah, and it's going to be well utilized going up against Swoobies, who's on the Reaper. Same with Gamerval now over on the Sombra. They don't have a ton of the anti-air, so a lot of ours are going to be on the bomb for the side of Bayside High to counteract that Pharmacy Wombo combo.
And the bomb definitely wants to focus the Mercy of the Far Mercy.
Yeah, because they've been letting so many of these reses go uncontested. Eternal Flame really getting up and close in their face, but will not get eliminated. So now a lot of pressure going to be pushed onto Daydream, but he's not even with the Pharah, which will lead to their elimination by Nexio, as Gamerval, with a great rotation from the whole side of Bayside High, lets the cart get pushed past the archway, and then they're going to push right on top of it. So Meridian Technical losing so many members, but Daydream, once again with another uncontested res, brings back Dragonfire as they lose Feb Neptune in the front line. Curious how long they will last, but it looks like they will just go for the regroup.
And the regroup was definitely the right play. They had 2 supports, and Big Boofus was getting there. There was no reason for Meridian Technical to have taken that fight, especially when they could easily reset, take the high ground, and move on.
Yeah, Bayside High is going to maintain this high ground, try to contest Eternal Flame the best they can, even with Cadozer on this Moira with the auto-aim right-click to try to drain her down, but a great shadow is going to come out onto 2 members of Bayside High, quickly followed by Eternal Flame with the barrage, taking out Swoobies and Mr. Gobbles, quickly followed by Dragonfire, taking out Gamerval, but Nexio is there to take out Eternal Flame, quickly followed by Daydream, bringing him right back. Another uncontested res coming out from Meridian Technical, as the bomb is able to take out Soup, quickly followed by Fem Neptune, taking out Nexio. The bomb finishing things off, taking out Dragonfire's Mortality Field, Fab Neptune taking out Cadozer, and Dragonfire finishing off the Baby Diva as Eternal Flame taking out the mech. Meridian Technical, a very long, drawn-out fight, but was able to bring it back.
Eternal Flame is currently uncountered as long as Bayside High isn't on the high ground, so taking space there is definitely the right Swoobies. Poor Swoobies. The
Only
TP
so
leaves
much.
you very vulnerable, Swoobies.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do as a Reaper going up against Eternal Flame, no less. Another uncontested red coming out for Daydream, but the Diva Bomb taking out Eternal Flame, stuck on the ground, doesn't have his pocket mercy and no res because it was used to bring back Soup, I believe, that time around, as Big Boofus takes out the Baby Diva, and now even bringing out the Whole Hog to take out Gamer Val, who might have even been stealthed the power of the Whole Hog, able to utilize there. Swoobies with the Death Blossom, though, bringing things back for Bayside High, keeping them in this team fight to take out Daydream and Soup, and taking out Big Boofus. Swoobies keeping his team in this team fight after getting eliminated so early on, taking out Dragonfire, quickly followed by the bomb, taking out Fem Neptune. They're going to hold this first checkpoint.
Swoobies learned their lesson. They did not teleport at the high ground when there was a Pharah, and so they were definitely rewarded for that. With the double elimination onto Soup and Daydream, Cole Cassidy and Mercy, that wins the fight for you, and then at that point, your Roadhog, Big Boofus, is left to pick a fight with the Reaper, which is never in the Roadhog's favor unless they land a good hook.
Yeah, but now Swooby's going to swap it up over to the Soldier to counteract Eternal Flame and Daydream on this Pharmacy combo. He is going to get focused down by Soup, though, and quickly make sure to get him out of the way. Hey, Bayside High does have their ults, but Eternal Flame is there with the brush to take out Gubbles, but will end up suiciding as well, as Big Boofus is there to take out Cadoza, quickly followed by Nexio taking out Fem Neptune, but Big Boofus is there with a 2-piece to take out Gamer Val, quickly followed by the bomb on the Baby Diva. Subies is finally able to take out Big Boofus for his team on the Soldier, kind of uncontested on this high ground, doing his best to rain as much fire down as he can, as Daydream is there with the Valkyrie to try to keep his teammates alive, as Dragonfire falls once again to Swoobies. The hack even coming out to deny the high noon, so the Deadeye completely negated. A great play coming out from Gamerville, but another great shatter coming out from Neptune onto 4 members of Bayside High, but it will simply not be enough because he does not have the follow-up as Gamerville gets the elimination. But they will end up taking it, and Bayside High will be the winner in this best of 3.
And Bayside, I will say that Dorado definitely went to Swoobies. Swoobies got there and got the triple kill. The 2 were ultimates, and that immediately stopped Meridian Technical's push. That was huge, and then once they made the swap to the Soldier and just kind of like uncontested the high ground, that's definitely what ended up giving Bayside High that match. So great job, Swoobies.
Yeah, and Esports Tower is where you can scroll pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up at esportstower.com. So as we close things out for this matchup, I have to ask, player of the game here, because we saw 2 matchups very good. It's hard not to highlight either Eternal Flame, Daydream, or Gamer Val here.
If you're going for just last match, I would go ahead and add Swoobies to that list. They were a relatively solid player the entire 3 maps, but on Dorado they definitely really shined. Daydream, we probably don't have much of a highlight reel for Daydream, but Daydream definitely more than carried, especially the Meridian Technical tanks, especially like always being there with the res for Fem Neptune. We were talking about the Daydream Eternal Flame DPS duo, but Daydream was also always there to make up for Fem Neptune. When Fem Neptune got in a little too deep, as main tanks occasionally do, they were always there with the res. I will also say that Eternal Flame on the Bastion was definitely something worth mentioning, because that was a strategy that we had talked to Meridian Technical about beforehand, and they executed to perfection. And Mr. Gubbles, I think, came out of that the worst with the res in front of the Bastion. And it looks like it will be Kale, which also makes a lot of sense. We were so focused on Meridian Technical versus Bayside High that we forgot to mention the GOAT of the CBC Yorba Linda game, which was Kale, who got incredible value, mostly on the Doomfist with those incredible flanks, and they stayed on Doomfist the whole time, and they helped with this. They definitely were able to capitalize on the Shatter. They weren't the one that made the Shatter, but they were a large part of the damage for that Shatter that ultimately won them Eichenwald. They would not have been able to break that hold otherwise without that Shatter Amplification Matrix Kale combo. And we just get to see him go nuts in the kill feed over there, defending the point. So, great player of the game, Kale.
Yeah, Kale will be your player of the game, brought to you by ICC, the Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho team members make their teams more successful. Wow, I'm butchering this. It's totally fine. So Kale will be your ICCU player of the game. Thank you all so much for joining us for this best of 3 between both these teams, as it was a great matchup. Kale, sorry we completely forgot about your matchup, but we were focusing on what we had just seen. So I hope you all enjoy this. But stick around, because we do have more Overwatch after this, but it will be our own BSU team kicking things off. So make sure to stick around and have a good night. Leap dart from the side of Yorba Linda, but she will get taken out by Kale once again, as it is a 1v1 between the Winstons. Joe will get that elimination. Here comes the pulse bomb out onto Kale, taking out that star player for the team that's gotten so many eliminations, as Joe takes out Economic Bear once again, as Eclipse takes out Sellout. CBC is winning this brawl, but with how scrappy you mentioned it is, this fight's last for a very long time, and it looks like CBC will take map number 1 of Control.
And that was a nice effort by everybody there. There was definitely some bright spots on both teams, mostly through the lens of like winning 1v1s when they need to win the 1v1s, because that's most of what this game is right now, is a bunch of people going at each other. For example, Kale going against everybody else, winning the 1v1s, taking the next 1v1s, going up 4. But without target focus, we're seeing these fights last a lot longer than they should have, because Kale on the Doomfist, I'm sure, is sitting there like, I killed 4, how are we not immediately?
Welcome to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You are joining us tonight for Boise State Overwatch action. We're going to start things off by bringing you a new tournament that we haven't quite covered yet. It's UGC Overwatch, and we have some new talent that we're going to be covering. So very exciting night overall. I'm your host, Jacob Jem Palmer, joined by Brenner Bear Ladd to cover all the action for you. And Brenner, this is going to be very exciting because UGC, this new tournament that we haven't necessarily covered yet, allows enrolled players who are enrolled for the next semester, spring 2022, to compete in this year's tournament. And Matt Merck is a new student that's going to be joining us, going to be playing the tank role for Boise State. So he's definitely going to have some big shoes to fill in terms of Play-Doh.
Yeah, and if I believe we heard correctly, I believe Pato is now over on the DPS role as well. So a lot of swaps coming in and out here for our BSU comp. And main tank is a big role. We saw in our previous high school matches that we just casted is main tank is the critical role, because if you fall, that can lead to your team falling because you are that front line. So losing that front line possibly early on in the fight can be detrimental. So a lot of pressure is going to be put on to this new player. But we are a couple weeks into this USGC tournament, so they have been able to play with our team and get accustomed to them. So hopefully we'll be able to see them play at their peak level of skill.
Well, let's take a quick look and overview of how this is going to go. In a UGC match, it is going to be a best of 5 in the order of control, hybrid, assault, and escort. Higher seeded team picks map 1, lower seed picks the next map. In terms of what we are starting out on, it's going to be Legion Tower. No big surprise there, as we have seen a lot of that over this semester. Before we get into that, we have Doc's keys to the game, which I'm sure both these players, especially a new player like Matt Merck, is going to want to know. So here you go. In Overwatch, that's never to take a fair fight, and that means to take fights in unexpected places when the opposing team is unprepared, and of course take advantage of any tempo that you can get. That is Doc's Keys to the Game, brought to you by Drop-In Gaming, the premier online platform for gamers to seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. Well, overall, we have this new lineup, which is going to be very exciting to take a look at. But overall, I know that a little bit earlier tonight, you and D'Angelo were covering some high school matches, and you were starting off, saw a whole lot on Legion Tower. So is there anything, as we're kind of resetting back into the collegiate level of competition, any huge things that you want to kind of set the stage for and what we can look forward to in Legion?
I mean, we know it's the Boise State strat to go with that sim brawl, even no matter what the map is. It is something that they have worked and perfected on as kind of what the meta of this season is for the Boise State lineup. But if we go over to something like Legion Tower on the Gardens map with that center ring that can lead to so many environmental eliminations, it is something that we will definitely have to watch out for, because that could change up the comp, as we've seen a lot of, even in high school play, that can relate so much to collegiate play because they're looking up to us. We could see a lot of the high speed mobility kind of divey comps. We could even see a pharmacy come out to try to get the boops off the bridge early on. We know we're going to see a Lucio no matter what the comp is, because that speed boost is so well utilized.
Well, you can see the lineup up there. Matt Merck is going to be rotated into the opening lineup for tonight. That lineup is brought to you by Count. Count Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Let's take a quick look at the matchup before we are ready to jump into Legion. This is Boise State versus Santa Cruz. This is the university that we faced before, but not necessarily this squad. This university is this big, normally have more players from multiple squads, so we'll see what fresh talent Santa Cruz can bring to the table as well. We're ready to jump into this match. It is going to be Legion Tower. A quick look at the control room there, getting ready to load everything in. We thank them for all of their work tonight. And here we go. Boise State versus Santa Cruz. First match we are covering for UGC Overwatch. We'll see how it works as we're ready to go.
Yeah, we're jumping in right into the Gardens map that I talked about. So already we could see a little bit of those silhouettes on the blue side with that Rhine Diva and possibly, I believe, even a Reaper, which is something we don't see very often right out the gate. And it looks like on the red side they will also stick with a Diva, but this time going for the Wrecking Ball, Hull Cassidy, Brig, and the Baptiste, with Tracer bringing up the rear. So definitely sticking to that high-speed comp from UC Santa Cruz, as Boise State is sticking with that Plato on the Reaper and Frost on the Sim Brawl. So they're sticking to what they know on the point and just simply line of sighting all the damage coming out from UC Santa Cruz.
Yeah, Boise State first to get to the point. It unlocks in 5, so we'll see how the team fight plays out. You saw Plato trying to pick off their Tracer. It looks like Braden there for UC Santa Cruz, trying to get a flank, unable to do so. The first pick is going to go over to Frost, who is able to take out Ryu. Little Man is going to be taken out of their mech as well. Santa Cruz tries to push onto the point, making a name for themselves, but Boise State is going to be the first one to take it very fast. Only a few picks was enough for them to take the point.
Mammerk's going to be charging right across the map and will be able to take out the Baby Diva, which is what you want to see, especially for a debut on the Boise State stream. Boise State able to push towards the spawn with that Lucio. As I mentioned, Lucio is going to be kind of the key member for this comp along with Frost, because it's a Sim Brawl comp. Those are your two win conditions, is the speed and the beam. So you're definitely going to watch those two players as they're pushing into their spawn.
And Chosen drops the Amp Matrix, going to be pushing a lot of damage to that choke point. But it looks like Santa Cruz is trying to be a little bit sneaky here with this Wrecking Ball. Is going to try to pick the point. Boise State turns around, is going to try to force him out. He does have the minefield, which he is going to drop, but not on the point. Instead, where Boise State is, Large Bagel is going to fall off the edge, as well as the support for UC Santa Cruz, their Brig as well. So overall, Boise State still has the advantage. One person up in this engagement as they go past half charge, 50% in this fight. Looks like that little flank didn't work out for Santa Cruz.
Yeah, and Boise State will be able to re-engage much quicker, especially with that Lucio having the speed boost, as I mentioned so many times, compared to the Brig. But with the Great Shatter, things are looking good.
That's a great shatter, followed by a great Death Blossom. We were wondering how Plato would do on DPS. Turns out he's doing just fine, picking up a quadruple. That is going to be a team. Why press that ace button? That is the first Boise State ace that Matt Merck can enjoy. That's a great way to start out.
Yeah, coming out the gate very strong, and even for this next team fight, they have the ult advantage. They have the amplification matrix to open up with, the sound barrier to counteract the one Deadeye that Santa Cruz has, as well as the photon barrier to just completely block it out, as well as the Diva Bomb to clean them up, so they are ready for this final fight.
Boise State's just pressing all of their Qs right now, as well as that Diva Bomb. Doesn't look like it's going to pick anybody out, and a huge charge. Gilvego is actually going to get a boop onto Braden off the edge, as Matt Merck also falls off the edge there. Skell and Frost also picking up one, though, keeping Boise State in the advantage. Another boop onto the opposing Lucio. That's going to clinch it for Boise State.
Yeah, Tracer couldn't even get back in time as kind of the go-to stall out hero in Overwatch, but Boise State played that very well solidly. This is what we want to see in this high level of play. We know Boise State has very strong individual players. We take a look back on this kind of play of the game from Plato on this Reaper, but their team play is gonna what makes them stand out against so many other teams. And even with having a new player that they've played with for a decent amount of time, their team play is still where it needs to be and able to beat UC Santa Cruz. So going into this next indoor map, it will definitely still favor the Boise State comp, as UC Santa Cruz has been playing a bit split, to even say, as once they get in the brawl, they're kind of just going for those 1v1s, whereas Boise State has been playing a lot more closer together and utilizing that team play, as we already see with the Symmetra portal right out the gate.
Yeah, just about everything you were talking about with Brawl can be doubled in terms of the tower version of Legion. So closed in Boise State, I bet once they win one team fight, are going to be pushing Santa Cruz back up to their own spawn. We'll see how that works out. Frost starting it out well by taking out Braden. Little Man also going very low on health, saved a little bit by that immortality field, as Ryu gets a double onto Boise State. Bakel fighting back, taking out Little Man. Both teams still pretty even. Boise State, even though it was a bit even in those eliminations, they made space for themselves to take the point.
Yeah, and listening to Doc's keys of objectives greater than kills from prior games even, making sure to cap that point before they go for the re-engagement. But now UC Santa Cruz circling around with the amplification matrix to kick things off.
Ryu's going to be eliminated, though, and a little bit of a run into each other with that charge. As Matt Merck is taken out, but Plushy and Little Man also eliminated by Chosen and Frost picking up the slack. Boise State has now charged up 2 of their ultimates. Chosen picking up the scraps by taking out Clift, and a bit of a self-die off of the edge there. Means Santa Cruz is going to reset.
Yeah, it's a good thing to at least self-suicide so you prevent that stalling out that happens so often with the Baby Diva. So good on UC Santa Cruz for being able to utilize that, but losing your Frost so early on, not what you want to see.
Wow, that is a rip tire if I ever saw one. Okay, Plato, you impressed us enough on that Death Blossom out about a triple rip tire for good measure, but right now Brayden is fighting back right now, pushing Boise State back to the point. Now Kel that has remeched is going to be able to fight out for a little bit longer, but it's taken out of his mech as soon as he remechs. Boise State looks like they are back on the point right now. Brayden is going to use his Meteor Strike, just focusing Frost and targeting him down. Looks like this is a lost fight for Boise State, and after such a great rip tire to start it out, that's a little disappointing.
Yeah, that's definitely the one negative of being as aggressive as Boise State is they pushed right up to the spawn, so as soon as they lost the 3 members, they were back in the fight right out the gate. So now UC Santa Cruz is going to get their own aggressive. They did kind of waste that shatter there as they did not catch or get any value onto the remaining members of Boise State after they were retreating back to their spawn. So now it gives Boise State time to recuperate because they got that 62% buffer. But going into this next fight, they're going to have to watch out for the 2 support ults because it's going to be a mirror match here for the ults.
Well, a lot of those support ults are dropped, both of them for both teams, Beat and Amplification Matrix. Both teams just try to snipe each other through these doorways here. Ryu's going to be a little bit more successful in that. We'll see if another Riptire can get one. It's going to pick off the Lucio. Boise State having to watch out for that Deadeye, though, for Ryu. Still holding it out more as a zoning Deadeye to keep Boise State at bay, but now Boise State is charging toward the platform. They're going to have to... Oh, Ryu was off to the side with a pick onto Chosen. Brayton, though, is going to be taken out in turn by a large bagel. Now Frost getting the advantage for Boise State. Is back and forth right now, but I think Boise State is still up. Yes, indeed they are, and those turrets are going to help. They're taking out, looks like Leonard there, I'm going to call him, for the Diva. Frost also taking out a Happy Plushie. Boise State is fighting back onto the point, but Santa Cruz getting a healthy, a respectable amount of charge, going past 70%.
Yeah, definitely this lolling out team brawl going in the favor of Boise State, having the more members secured on the point. We did see Matt Merck attempt the shatter right as he died, which we see from a lot of players just kind of, I'm about to die, go for the panic shatter, and he got burned down just a bit too quickly before he could hit the ground. So that ultimate was lost in that team fight, but going to this next one, UC Santa Cruz does have the advantage with both the Shatter and the Amplification Matrix, whereas Kel has that Diva Bomb that we know he can land very well from prior matches. So with UC Santa Cruz kicking off their own Shatter, not landing any members, things are not looking good for them.
Yeah, and that's a great pick starting out, taking out Brayton. That means that Meteor Strike is not going to be available for Santa Cruz. Boise State also, Kel following up what he got on the Diva Bomb by taking out Little Man. Matt Merck also getting a double, doing great work in the tanks for Boise State. Oh, an unfortunate boop off of the edge, though, for Kel is going to give UC Santa Cruz kind of a second win. Plato's going to throw out that Riptide, though. Take out Little Man as he rushes back to the point. That is a great play for Boise State.
Yeah, even taking out the Doomfist because he was the last one alive on that point. Baby Diva not even going to get the chance to stall. A great Shatter's going to keep that push at bay. Boise State's definitely winning this overtime and not letting UC Santa Cruz have a chance. Even the last minute swap over to the Genji, but the trap will stop the Wrecking Ball in his tracks, spin, momentum, something like that.
Well, nonetheless, it is still a win for Boise State University. One of the great sponsors for Boise State is the Idaho Army National Guard, and they invite you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. Idaho Army National Guard is one of the best teams to join out there. Reach out to them on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Well, now Boise State is in prime position to move on. Matt Merck making a great addition to the team, and Plato looks like he's been playing DPS all of this time, going back into that role with absolutely no issues whatsoever, really.
Yeah, and that's something you want from these high-level players is the ability to play multiple roles, or at least have a base understanding of them, so that way when you play, your main tank, you know what the DPS and where they're positioning to be, and same with the supports. And so I think that just speaks to the high level play of our players, as well as the players we're going up against, because they've also had their very good moments on their own side that I would love to just point out of just, they're still giving Boise State a fight, even though with our new player, we are still showing why we are the dominating force.
Well, we'll take a short break between these matches, see Boise State can't continue on their momentum. We'll take a few messages and be back right after this.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Excuse me. You are watching UGC Overwatch, the first time we are covering this tournament for Boise State. I am Jacob Jem Palmer, joined by Brenner Bearlat. Brenner, I'm just going to take a drink of water, let you cover it. We are seeing some new talent for Boise State tonight.
Yeah, we are seeing Matt Merck on the main tank this time around, and Plato's now on the DPS role, who has been absolutely popping off. We saw the great 4K from the Reaper, as well as the 3-man tire from the Junkrat. So good plays from Boise State, but going into this next map, we are definitely going to keep our eyes on both sides of these teams, because UC Santa Cruz does have a new lineup, something we have not seen from them before. So going into this next map, we definitely want to see them improve here, because I believe this is week 3 of the USGC tournament.
Yeah, Boise State is already in there. Sorry, I just regained my breath there. Boise State having such a great performance, though. We are going to take another look at how this tournament shakes out right now in terms of the stage order. We start out in Legion Tower. Everyone's favorite Kings Row for the second map as we move into Hybrid. I'm sure Santa Cruz and Boise State especially know this map very well.
Yeah, Kings Row is one of those staple maps that, as we mentioned, is always been in the game since day one. So these teams have honed in their strategy since day one. Even as the meta changes, everyone knows how this map plays out. They have it memorized like the back of their hand. So we're definitely going to see possibly the Sigma Orisa defensive strat, or we might see the typical May Brawl strat with the Ryan Diva, as well as the Cole Cassidy, who is just so phenomenal on this map, especially with how much utility he offers, even if the Deadeye doesn't get as much value as you want to see.
Well, we're just about ready to head into this. A very familiar stage for Boise State, but some very familiar advice might also help them out. As, of course, just overall Ducks keys to the game, talking about the objective being better than kills. Talk to us a little bit about how you kind of make space overall and not just get into that solo queue mentality.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be where we see the high-level play of these players on the collegiate scene come in. We want to see the team play orientation rather than kind of high-skill individuals, because this is a team of high-skill individuals, but they have to learn how to play together as a team. You know, when to peel for your supports is a utilized skill, but if it's individuals, you want to win those 1v1s consistently, and already on Santa Cruz in the red, we can see that they do have the Widow for the scouting up top. So it's going to be a lot of Diva has to try to absorb as much damage as she can for it, but she's going to take a shot right out the gate to scout that out. So we want to utilize this team play so that they can win these engagements as they try to kick things off, because we're still sticking with the May Cassidy combo for Boise State, but that May wall was just too far back.
This is normally a composition Boise State plays very well. Matt Merck is going to be able to take their Diva out of their mech, and Little Man and Legend are going to be taken out. That is the front line down for Santa Cruz. Both their tanks gone. The May wall separating them out. Look at Matt Merck is just going to swing right into their May and force Santa Cruz to respawn.
Yeah, this is a mirror match between these two teams because he swapped off that Widow right out the gate as he couldn't get that cheeky pick. But Boise State played that much more safer as they had both the heal back and the corner advantage because they were getting pushed into by UC Santa Cruz. UC Santa Cruz did get the freeze onto Matt Merck, but was not able to capitalize on it because they could not burn down the Immortality Field in time.
That's a great May wall peeling off Little Man from the rest of his squad, and he's just going to get mowed down as Ryu is also eliminated. Legend fighting back, taking out Chosen, and Plato also eliminated, but still enough picks for Boise State to hold Santa Cruz at bay.
Yeah, that was definitely a hard POV to watch for Chosen, losing the 1v1 to a baby Diva, even with the amplification matrix on his side. Oh. But he will be able to get back in time with the help of a large bagel, but it looks like they're going to have to go for the final re-engagement, but they do have the Shatter and the Blizzard and the Deadeye to take things off.
Well, the May wall is going to peel off Boise State. Look at Matt Burke here. He's going to go around, get a huge Shatter onto Santa Cruz, following it up, charging right into them as Legend is eliminated. Boise State taking back the first point. What an amazing play. And look at Cal with the defensive matrix eating the Blizzard from UC Santa Cruz. Overall, brilliant play by the Broncos.
Yeah, hopefully we see a swap off that May, especially if they were just kind of throwing the Blizzard to slow down the aggressive push from Boise State as they are on the defensive, but it looks like they might stick with the May. Definitely an interesting decision to just panic throw your Blizzard and just let it get eaten up after you had lost that team fight with so many frontliners being down for your team. So going into this next push, they're going to have to watch out for this Diva Bomb, as it will definitely be the playmaker for this Boise State squad.
Well, there goes one Shatter, deserves another. Santa Cruz being out there, Shatter and their sound barrier as well. Large Bagel trying to take out that Immortality Field, but a Boop is going to take out Cal. Matt Burke able to charge his Shatter up so quickly, but it isn't going to get any sort of mileage against Santa Cruz. High Noon brought out by Ryu and is going to be able to take out Frost. Boise State now is just going to have to give up this point. Matt Burke, he lived by the flank, he's going to die by the flank, trying to get back. He's able to dodge that May wall and live to fight another day.
Now it looks like Boise State's going to go for the stall and try to re-engage one last time, but with the May getting frozen and a large bagel getting meleeed out, they're not going to be able to get it, so they need to retreat here.
Boise State still fighting Santa Cruz right next to this point as Matt Merck, they both charge into each other, and Little Man is going to be eliminated by Chosen. Plato also taking out Cliff. So even though the first point was taken for Santa Cruz, Boise State still manages to take it back.
Yeah, they did not retreat, and they were able to maintain it. This is one of the key strats of Boise State, is even if they're down members, they are able to stay in the fight, which speaks to their high level of individual play, where their team play may be lacking. They're definitely able to compensate for that, not even letting UC Santa Cruz leave their spawn right now, doing them dirty, Boise State.
And the payload backed up all the way toward the door. I guess Boise State just wishes they could open that garage door back up and just park it back in there and just call it a day right here. But look out for Matt here. He has been insane on these Shatters. Is he going to do it again? Try to go into the back line with a Shatter. We're going to see how he gets frozen, though. But he does unfreeze now. And that Blizzard doing great work, freezing Santa Cruz. Deep Bomb going to be thrown out. Isn't going to pick up anybody. And the rematch, there's the shatter that we were looking for, is able to take out that Lucio. Actually, he does get away. Cliff actually taking a lot of damage, is taken out by a punch from Large Bagel, excuse me. And that is going to be Boise State taking it back to getting rid of Braden. Even though Large Bagel is taken out, Ryu is going to use that Deadeye, making more space for Santa Cruz as they push back onto the point. I don't know how much longer just the tanks for Boise State can hold this point, but they are sure going to try with that Diva Bomb. This is absolutely insane how long they are holding Santa Cruz. Ryu, though, looks like he might be starting the take back from Santa Cruz with a double. Little Man taking out Matt Merck as well. Frost eliminated, and I think that's finally going to be the payload starting to move.
Yeah, Ryu's pulling their weight on the DPS right now, as Braden has been doing their best to get the freezes onto the tanks, but it has simply not been enough, as Ryu's finally having to just execute all the squishies in the backline so that the tanks cannot outlast them anymore. But the sustainability of Boise State has just been unmatched so far, as already they're trying to go for a recontest here. We're pushing very quickly, utilizing the Lucio speed, and a great melee is going to cut him off, and the amplification matrix.
That is the wall and application matrix just going right into Plato as he uses the Deadeye. We're going to have to rely on some other players in Boise State to get the picks. All they were able to take out is Brayton, as Little Man with a great flame strike is taking out Matt Merck, but Frost fighting back, taking out Ryu. Amp matrix down for Santa Cruz, trying to get them a little bit of extra damage as Little Man is eliminated, though. Kel doing great work with those Baby Diva main skills as well. Just surviving. Oh, we got a Baby Diva fight here. Who is going to win it? Oh, Boise State is gaining a little bit of an unfair advantage with that freeze from the May, but I'm sure they'll take the win nonetheless.
Yeah, Frost definitely did not respect the Baby Diva duel, as we see in most cases. But anything to win and get more ult charge, I respect it. So now already getting aggressive once again, holding them at this archway is definitely going to be a hard push for Santa Cruz, as they only have the Diva Bomb, whereas Matt Merck has the Shatter. As you mentioned, he's just been such a key player for Boise State, so it's something they're going to have to watch out for.
Well, he manages to get one, but the lamp is going to be thrown down the lantern to keep them alive. There goes a double Diva Bomb, actually a triple if you count Cal's mech, and Frost is also eliminated. All that's left is Plato. He's going to be taken out as well. Can Boise State hold them? Ooh, they're going to have so little time. I think they can get back before this checkpoint, though. It's going to be crucial.
Yeah, it's all going to be on a Large Bagel to micromanage these run backs to escort his team with this speed boost, as both DPS and the Baptiste is not there in time. It's just going to be the two tanks to try to contest this in time for their team, as the Deadeye was come out for zoning but does not get any value.
Matt Merck manages to get back onto the point. Kel is taken out of their mech as Chosen drops the App Matrix. Plato is able to take out one through the boosted damage there. And that's a nice little freeze onto Little Man with that Blizzard. Plato is also going to take out Ryu. Boise State looks like they might be able to get this. Oh, unfortunately, in the high noon, Plato is eliminated by Plushy there. Look at that, a triple from Plushy. Bap can do a lot of damage, and Plushy certainly proving that.
Yeah, Ryu and Plushy definitely pulling their weight super hard. As you mentioned, Plushy with a triple from Baptiste, no less. But at the same time, you want to highlight Braden, who stayed alive through that whole time and managed to just dish out the damage and keep things alive. As the May, you want to see them stalling out the best they can, and that's exactly what they did. They are utilizing the roles and playing the best team play, and losing Plato so early on is not what you want to see for this next team fight.
Well, you have no doubt Plato was on the upper level there, and that's one great thing that a Diva can do, is take down those DPSs from those upper levels, really bullying Plato back to the spawn. Boise State, they are going to find themselves walled off there and frozen as well. That doesn't look like good news for Matt Berg. Look at Plato, though. He is out for revenge after being taken out by Layan there. Plato is able to take out at least one of the tanks for UC Santa Cruz, getting rid of Little Man, as VU is using their Deadeye. Doesn't look like it's going to take anybody, just doing some zoning for now as Chosen throws down their Amp Matrix. We're going to see that is another wall that actually walls off their own Lucio, and Kel sees the opening and is able to take out the Lucio for UC Santa Cruz. Boise State looks like they are managing to hold them, at least taking time off of that timer. There goes Bob, everyone's favorite, charging in and doing great work for Boise State as Little Man and Happy Plushy are taken out. Braden also eliminated. Ryu trying to fight back, but it's not going to be enough. Bob picking up the pieces for Boise State, and that looks like that is going to be a Kings Row win for them. It is indeed.
Yeah, the solid defense. Once they got one or two members up, they started getting aggressive, which is what you want to see to have that high level of team play. We know they can win on the individual level and win their 1v1s, as we even see Kel here utilizing kind of the Lucio being out of place. He got too aggressive, and that Maywall simply did not help him, as it was his own team's Maywall, as you pointed out in the heat of the moment. And Bob definitely there to help finish things off in his own team's Blizzard, lining up all the headshots. Boise State played that very tightly and very well. So now on the attack, they're going to have to watch out for UC Santa Cruz's own Mayaz. Mayaz definitely been the playmaker for either of these teams with those walls, because as you mentioned, this is a wall and brawl map. If you get the wall off on 1 or 2 targets, those people have to die. And if you are not able to capitalize on it, then that's something you need to work on. But with these teams and how high level they are, we know that they can execute on it, but it's going to have to be burn down that lamp first, because it's all going to be on the Baptiste to keep those people alive in the wall and mall situation.
Now, I hope I'm not tempting a caster curse here by already calling this a win, but by Santa Cruz not getting 3 points, it definitely feels like a win, and I think we're going to see the momentum if Boise State can at least take this and start pushing the payload in just one fight, because they held Santa Cruz so long at point 1, even after the payload was taken.
Yeah, they recontest point 2 as well for the first checkpoint. It was very quick. And so I definitely agree with you there. Boise State could easily win this, but it also depends on how well they can take this first control point, because they held UC Santa Cruz very long. So now can UC Santa Cruz match that, as already they're going to the back of the point, whereas Boise State held them at the statue.
Pacing is going to decide this. Boise State making their way, trying to find the right Maywall. Doesn't quite get the one that they wanted, but neither did Santa Cruz. So it's just an all-out brawl toward the point. Kell retreating low on health. Matt Burke's going to be the first one eliminated by Ryu, who has been the star DPS for Santa Cruz, getting a double there. Boise State says that they need to go away. They're at least going to get some revenge on Ryu. This looks like it's going to have to be a reset for the Broncos.
Yeah, and even getting Kell out of his mech is going to stall out the Baby Diva just for that much longer.
Oh.
Miss the utilization, as Plato gets caught out, was just too far back as well. So Santa Cruz buying themselves a lot of time here.
This is exactly what Santa Cruz needed to do on their defense. And we're going to see, now that the Maywalls are charged back up, we're going to see each team get another shot at this.
UC Santa Cruz looking good, though. They have the Shatter and the Amplification Matrix, whereas Boise State doesn't have a single ultimate online.
Ooh, that's a great Maywall, though. It's going to peel off there. Reinhardt, and he's taking a lot of damage, almost taken out, but if they can get him out, they don't have to deal with that Shatter, and that is exactly what they're going to do. The Amp Matrix is thrown down for UC Santa Cruz, and there goes a Shatter onto Santa Cruz, right on the point, and they just fall like dominoes right after that. Ryu just is going to get a wall right in his face for the trouble of using that Deadeye, and Boise State takes the point in great fashion. Is even going to get a little bit of a stagger for good measure.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. So now UC Santa Cruz can't even recontest the first point. They're just going to have to give up and remount a defense at this archway unless Boise State starts taking the space, as we see them do so many times, with Plato jumping all the way up top. And they have the ult advantage going into multiple fights, because we know Boise State has the reserve to hold those ults, because they only need to commit so much to the next team fight. Hey, so UC Santa Cruz is going to try to speed right into their Amplification Matrix.
Well, looks like we hear Bob being thrown out through that Maywall there. Little Man is going to get frozen. Large Bagel is going to take him out. Bob doing great work taking out Plushy. Boise State now has what they need to push through that choke point. Maywall is going to try to save UC Santa Cruz, but it isn't enough, as Large Bagel takes out their Lucio, and Chosen also eliminates Legend there. That's going to be Plato, also with some great play on the Dynamite, a double to take out their DPSs.
Yeah, free ult charge, take it if you can, especially if you're Ashe. You can just get back and forth so quickly with that shotgun boop that she utilizes for her ability. Same with the Dynamite, just burning it down, getting free ult charge. And so going to this next fight, they do have the Diva Bomb going into this, but at the same time, UC Santa Cruz has both the Blizzard and the Sound Barrier to negate that self-destruct. So a lot of eyes are going to be on Kell to eat up that Blizzard, because you know that they have the Blizzard online. Because of these high-level players, they have to be able to have that knowledge.
Ooh, that Blizzard is making Kell think twice about throwing out that Diva Bomb. Looks like he's barely surviving thanks to that Immortality Field. Now he throws out the Diva Bomb and is going to take out Ryu. If there's a pick that you want, it's going to be that DPS. It's also Legend, and now Lucio is taken out on the side of UC Santa Cruz. The wall is going to trap the remaining members, taking out Brayden. That's another ace for Boise State.
Yeah, Mammerk had another great shatter that helped just allow his team to push forward and get so much of that value. These shatters have just been uncontested for so long, even going to do a spin on him. for style points at that point because they are that confident. Bob's coming in to kick things off.
I like that play you were talking about, the shotgun boot. That's actually the coach gun, using that to get onto the high ground and then throw out Bob. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's pushing Diva back also with that coach gun, but now he's trying to get right in the face of Diva, take her out of her mech, but it doesn't look like it's going to do it. Plato is eliminated for his troubles, but a great attempt nonetheless. I like the way that looked.
Yeah, Braden walling them off, doing their best to put them in positions that they don't want to be, walling off those sidelines. But a great wall of ball is going to kick things off. The Diva Ball tried to eat up that Blizzard, but things are looking good for Boise State.
That's a great freeze onto Santa Cruz as well. A triple freeze. The Dynamite is going to pick up there, Lucio. Large Bagel found himself in the wrong place. Also taking Kel out of his back. Boise State, what are you doing? You just got triple self-destructed there. That's going to stop Boise State's push, as they're also going to get frozen with Brayton. It looks like they still managed to push the payload forward despite that mishap with that self-destruct.
I feel bad for Chosen's back because he is keeping this team alive the best he can, and he kept Frost alive through the enemy Blizzard, even with the May alive. So he is doing work here, as UC Santa Cruz doesn't even have time to recontest. Boise State played that very well. It was kind of a sloppy last fight for them at their standards, but they were able to take it and go all 3 points.
Well, if you're at the high school level and you want to improve your game sense, then you're going to want to go to Esports Tower. You can score pro advice at esportstower.com, improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great coaches and teammates to help you level up. So ever since you mentioned that shotgun boop, I'm just going to try to find every excuse that I can make to say Coach Gun for the remaining, because I think that's the best named ability in the whole game. It's just fun to say. But anyway, even more fun for Boise State is this amazing win that they have, and now they're going on to match point. That's the good news. Unfortunately, they have to do it on Assault.
Yeah, and Assault's definitely the hate-love relationship mode in Overwatch. It can be either phenomenal if you just snowball and it's over really quick, or it can be that long, drawn-out siege for both points, depending on how well you can defend and utilize kind of the rotations. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the return of Temple of Anubis, as it has been kind of the staple Assault map that we've seen so consistently for this semester.
Well, we'll just have to see what Boise State picks. We're going to take a short break and be back, see if they can't get the victory on their match point. Please stay tuned after this.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back to Boise State's match against Santa Cruz. Boise State is currently leading 2-0, and we're getting ready to head into game number 3 on Assault. Series sitting at match point for Boise State. I'm Jacob Jim Palmer. Joining me to call all the action is Brenner Bear Ladd, and now we've been talking about kind of the predictions for Boise State to choose. You've been throwing out Temple of Anubis as a possible option.
Yeah, we do know that the map loser the loser of the previous map gets to choose the next one. So it's up to UC Santa Cruz of what they're most comfortable with for Assault. We know Temple of Anubis has kind of just been like the industry standard of this is the best map that most teams utilize on. But we've also seen different Assaults from prior maps. When we just cast the high school game, we had Hanamura, which we've been seeing more and more as teams have just been kind of adapting their strategies for a more open map like that. But I think we will still stick with Temple of Anubis just because that's what a lot of people have the most playtime on.
Well, we're getting ready to see what is going to be brought out in its UGC match. Hanamura is going to be the pick instead, something that you and D'Angelo covered a little bit earlier tonight.
Yeah, it was very much sim brawl heavy of they could either just go straight onto point with a Mei and try to win it out that way, or they go for the rooftop play with a Bastion that we saw Meridian Technical pull out in their match. That worked out very well for them. At the same time, we've also seen a lot of Roadhogs be utilized, maybe just because that's the high school favorite of favoring individual play, but in this higher level play we want to see a lot more team play oriented, so we could even see the Sig Orisa double barrier strat to try to counteract that teleporter right onto point, maybe play a little bit further back than the door, but we also see a lot of teams get aggressive. We're definitely going to see a Cole Cassidy and possibly a Mercy combo on the defense as it works so well on the first point, but once they get to that second point you want to see that swap off because it doesn't work as well. Usually we see maybe an Ashe or even a Junkrat for that matter to deal with those tight corridors.
Well, let's give them some advice to close this out. The Broncos, we're going to go over Doc's keys to the game one more time tonight in Overwatch, and that's to never take a fair fight. That means take fights in unexpected places when your opposing team is unprepared, and take advantage of any tempo that you can get. Brought to you by Drop-In Gaming, the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play to win your favorite games. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you to begin your competitive gaming journey. Sign up at dropingaming.com. Let's get into game number 3. It's going to be Hanamura Assault for Boise State. So here we go. Let's see what is going to be brought out tonight.
Yeah, we've seen a couple main comps come out from all of the teams tonight. We've seen kind of the Diva Winston, high speed, choose your target, altered dive form, a little bit more brawly, not as much dive of kill this one person, or we can see the double barrier of a very solid defense, even with a Torb if they want to go full just turret strat. And we've also seen kind of this stereotypical sim brawl with the Rhine Diva, and already from seeing the silhouettes we know it's going to be the Sigma Orisa hard defense for Boise State, so they're definitely probably expecting a sim brawl coming out from UC Santa Cruz. But with this being a newer team for them, they could definitely change things up, as we're already seeing a Zenyatta and a Genji, so they're definitely going to go for kind of a more dive with the Wrecking Ball and Diva.
We'll see how it works out for them. There goes Genji. Ryu is putting a lot of pressure on to Cal, and the dive is working out as a Bagel is taken out. Matberg trying to do work on this Wrecking Ball, and Frost fighting back on the Torb is going to be able to take out Ryu. Little Man also taken out of their mech. Boise State still managing, despite a few picks, to hold Santa Cruz at bay for now.
Yeah, and the Wrecking Ball and the Sigma is a very good combo for Boise State, as it allows them to match the speed of the previous Wrecking Balls. It's going to be a 1v1, but it allows the Sigma with the barrier to hold the front lane, along with the Torb turret and Plato on this Ashe, able to pick off any stragglers like Rio on this Genji, who has just not been able to get into the back lane and disrupt Plato just yet.
With some backup from Sigma there, Boise State doesn't look like they're going to be able to take out Cliff there. And of course, an elimination on the Torb turret onto the Baby Diva isn't going to hurt either, as Happy Flesh is taken out by Plato. Matt Merck also getting an elimination onto Lone there. Boise State doing a great job. They've already burned off a good amount of time for Santa Cruz, and are going to get a stagger as well. Can they take out Ryu? Oh, he's trying to escape. And Mad Merc thinks, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go after that. I need to get back to my team.
Yeah, he did get the health back in, dashed away just in time for his tanks to show up and protect it. But Boise State has been able to cancel out any of the rotations that UC Santa Cruz has been attempting as they went over to that left room. But the break shield was not enough to protect the Zenyatta, as most of the mines land up on the roof. It doesn't matter. He takes out both supports anyway.
Yep, just a little bit of icing on the cake, if you will, in terms of all the damage that Matt Merck is forcing onto Santa Cruz. Also, of course, the Storm Turret doing a great job of just cleaning up the baby diva after she's been taken out of her mech.
Yeah, Frauds, this has definitely had a very chill game, no pun intended for his name, maybe a little bit, as he's just been able to sit back and relax, watch his turret do all the work. We're going to see UC Santa Cruz change up their team composition just ever so slightly, with both tanks now on the Diva and the Winston, along with a Happy Plushie going over to the Ana to try to keep them alive from the backline. So he will have to watch out for Plato with those sidelines in the Sniper v Sniper.
I mean, still a dive composition, but more of the traditional dive that a lot of people think of. We also see Bob is going to be online for Plato if he wants to use it. He does indeed, throwing him right in, is going to push you right up into the air where Plato picks him off. Also, Little Man being eliminated by Chosen. Diva's going to be taken out of her mech and is able to get another shot in the air. Plato is insane back on DPS and is going to get some more damage off of the Dynamite here. He cannot be stopped.
Yeah, that's the big problem with Hanamura as a map, is you can only push it so many ways. So now Jinx is even going over to the Widowmaker to try to counteract Plato on this non-stoppable Ashe, even landing the Dynamite onto the Ana, dropping very low, but will have to use her own nade on the ground to keep herself alive, as the Widow has been scouted out trying to take out the Sigma, but will not be able to do so. So now Matt Merck in the backline will take her out right off the bat.
Wow.
I don't think UC Santa Cruz will be able to push unless they have to utilize this rally and get a pick.
Watch out for the flank minefield going on here, and UC Santa Cruz is going to use everything they have. The rally trying to stay alive as well. Molten Core is going to take out Ryu. Plato is eliminated by Cliff, so it is 5v5, but a great accretion there takes out Lone. And also the Nano Boost is going to be thrown out there, but it's not going to be a Nano Blade as Ryu is switching in between DPSs, trying to find what he wants to use here. Large Bagel is able to take out Plush. With that, Boise State looks like they have managed to hold the point yet again. They're just going to have to take out one more push, maybe some stragglers.
Yeah, UC Santa Cruz has not regrouped enough, as Diva is not even on their side of the map. Will finally go hit and then trigger the overtime, but Plato's there to take out both DPS.
He is, and especially the Torp turret as well on the point, doing its role very well. That's a great kind of understated quadruple for Plato at the very end there, but he was on fire the whole round.
UC Santa Cruz never had an answer for Matt Merck in their backline, just having a field day on this Wrecking Ball. He was constantly disrupting their rotations and making them have a staggered push where they were constantly going in as individuals and not having a solid team. As we looked at that replay, the consistent knockups allowing Plato to get so many free headshots and eliminations. Bob doing his job as well, knocking up that Genji. UC Santa Cruz needs to have a solid defense here if they even want to try to stop Boise State, but I don't think their Wrecking Ball on the main tank has the capacity that Matt Merck does to disrupt and cause so much chaos to stop the Boise State push, because I don't believe Santa Cruz even got one tick on the point. So it's going to be a very quick victory for Boise State if they win a single team fight.
Boise State, all they need to do is just take one tick, I believe, actually. Not a single tick gotten for Santa Cruz, so Boise State can just close this out really fast.
Yeah, I would hope to see so. So Boise State could easily go a dive comp, choose the two tanks, take out the tanks, and now you have the point because they don't have anyone to sustain it.
Or the Symmetra teleport as well. Boise State has managed to take a few teams off guard with that as well.
Yeah, that could definitely be utilized, because I don't think all the members of Santa Cruz have really set up just yet. They're definitely going to have to play a bit further back, but only the Orisa, Diva, and Soldier are to be seen, as Boise State's hopefully has a Lucio to just get them there that much quicker. They will finally begin to set up. I don't know what the May is doing all the way off to the side.
Oh, indeed!
They go for the top up top, and hopefully we see a Bastion, but not the Bastion. It's going to be Plato on the Ashe, just going to start sniping down.
I mean, with how Plato's been doing, he might as well be the damage output as Sebastian. They're going to throw out the May wall right there, throwing the Dynamite onto the point. Boise State still hasn't gotten the pick that they are looking for, but they're putting a lot of damage onto the Orisa right now. And can they get 1 point? The tanks are soaking up so much damage. And it looks like the Diva is almost about to be taken out of her mech, but healed back up. Happy Plushie down to about half health there, but Boise State still staying alive. Bagel very low on health, though, needs to heal back up. We'll see if he can hang in there, gets a bit of health back, and there goes Little Man's mech taken out. And Boise State now managing, after a lot of fighting, to push their way back onto the point. All they need is just one tick right here, but a lot of damage is going to be going through that amplification matrix that Santa Cruz just dropped, taking out Kel. Dynamite thrown through yet again. again, and Bob to just knock Santa Cruz right out of the way. And Boise State looks like they are well on their way to taking this point, as well as the Metro setting up her car wash there as well. And the Namp Matrix, that is going to be what Boise State needs to just do an avalanche of eliminations through and take their point. There's still one more. Okay, I was going to say there was a stall, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that. Boise State getting the victory 3-0 against Santa Cruz with the composition that I wanted to see. I wanted to see them win it off the Symmetra teleport just to take Santa Cruz off their guard. But good job for the Broncos, getting a great win and looking great in the UGC Collegiate Overwatch tournament.
Yeah, a definitely good showing for this tournament that we have not seen them in before, even with the new players. So high hopes going into the next semester to see more of Matt Merck on that main tank role with how well they performed in that final matchup with, as you mentioned, that Symmetra play that they utilized so well. They just simply out-sustained the side of UC Santa Cruz for so long. Even with the Amplification Matrix, they were hiding behind the bell the whole time, and Plato was just getting free poke damage with Matt Merck's shield being up because they couldn't even burn through that because he could just put it down and they had the bell to hide behind. So UC Santa Cruz did not take advantage of the point or even the Amplification Matrix once they had it to get any sort of damage output or elimination onto members of Boise State. So Boise State takes it.
Well, if you can't tell by all the snowflakes and winter effects here, it is December, and that means that we are getting into some postseason championship matches. Actually, no, it's still in the season, but it is just the regular season has ended, and Boise State is in some championship matches and are going up against Marryville in some collegiate championships. So we will take a short break, about 2 minutes, and be back with the second game of the night. We'll be back against Marryville 2-2 right after this.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You're currently watching our coverage of Boise State Collegiate Overwatch. Now it is time for us to move into championship mode as Boise State is in the TESPA postseason, going up against Marryville to see if they can advance on in this bracket. I'm still your host, Jacob Jim Palmer, joined by Brenner Bearlat to talk about this match. And Boise State going up against a formidable team, and they're kind of even in terms of their ranks. I was looking at some information about the teams earlier, just a little bit earlier, and Marryville was number 10 ranked in the regular season, is number 7 ranked. And now for Boise State, it was the inverse. They were number 7 ranked and now number 10 ranked. So it's pretty even for these teams, and a very formidable postseason lineup for Boise State and TESPA.
Yeah, this is definitely a matchup that's going to hopefully go the full distance of this best of 5 and not just be a clean 3-0 sweep, because we want to see these teams go the distance, as I already said. You know, these are, as you mentioned, practically mirror matches of, you know, they were 10, now they're 7. Now we were 7, now we're 10. Like, we want to retake that spot of just, you know, we're coming back from being champions of a lot of these matches. So taking down Marryville will definitely send a strong statement of this team of we're here to compete and we're here to win this tournament. And especially with big dogs like Northwood in the top sites of these tournaments, we definitely need to win against some of these top tier opponents to prove that we can stand up against them and win against them and possibly take this whole tournament off their feet.
Well, TESPA, or rather ABC Overwatch, if you were watching during the regular season, it was best of 3 matches, but now that we are in the championships, it is going to be best of 5. Boise State going up against one of the top teams in the nation in terms of Overwatch, Marryville, and if they win, just as a way of saying thank you, they're going to be going up against an even more formidable team, either Illinois or Northwood, although in all likelihood, it's probably going to be Northwood that they're going to have to face if they win this. So the team that does win this, whether it be Marryville or Boise, are going to have a very tough match ahead of them. But right now we need to focus on the current match and the lineup that is being brought out. It's Plato, Kel, Frost, Gob, Chosen, and a large bagel lineup brought to you by Count. Count Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. And of course, because we are in the championship stage right now, we have to go to Doc's Keys to the Game to give the Broncos the best chance at winning. And in Overwatch, that's never to take a fair fight. That means take fights in unexpected places when the opposing team is unprepared. And of course, tempo, tempo, tempo. Doc's Keys to the Game. Drop-In Gaming is the sponsor of those. Drop-In Gaming, the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you to begin your competitive gaming journey. Sign up at dropingaming.com. All right, we're getting ready to head into the first game. We are starting out on Control. According to the little cheat sheet I was given earlier, Oasis actually might be the first map, if I am not mistaken, which would be nice because we haven't seen a lot of Oasis.
Yeah, it used to be kind of in prior semesters the first Control map we always go to. Now this semester it's definitely been Lijiang Tower we see from the most teams. So returning to Oasis is definitely a site for sore eyes as we are returning to it for first time in the past couple matches. So I will definitely see a lot of teams utilize the same strategies we've seen in the past, as the meta hasn't changed that much since then. We haven't had new characters or any really big balance changes coming out. So we will definitely most likely see a Doomfist or a Winston depending on the map. So going to this first indoors map, it will definitely be, you know, kind of the Rhine Diva with a Mei or even Doomfist working out for them so they can win the brawl on the point. Same with Cole Cassidy, could easily be swapped in and out with that Mei depending on how they want to utilize their playstyle, whether they want to go for kind of a more wall and brawl of don't let them escape through one of the 2 main doors, or if you want to flashbang and single out single targets, as Boise State in the red, sticking to, I believe, Gob on that Doomfist. Same with the Zarya to counteract that Diva.
Looks like it's going to be pretty much a mirror match between these two teams. We're going to see, actually, looks like Marryville is going to be the one opting for the Mei, whereas Gob goes on to the Doofus. And look at that, it pays off right there, able to take out Cyrus. And Ice also will be eliminated, Provide taken out by Kel, and the rest taken out by Boise State. Basically all of them from Marryville. What a way to start.
Yeah, this is definitely the more traditional brawl that we've seen in the past, of where we have Gob on the Doomfist and Frost on the Symmetra, just being able to dish out high DPS as their front lines hold it. Same with Kel and Plato, utilizing kind of the Reinhardt Zarya combo that we see, and barely misses it on the Reaper. and will end up falling to him as well.
Yeah, it's actually their D.Va that got kind of the final tick onto Goblin. Look at Cyrus there with a triple onto Boise State, putting the Broncos back in their plays. A little bit of an ego check, if you will, as Marryville takes back the point.
Also, we saw a huge misplay on the side of Boise State. We saw the panic shatter death from Plato. You could hear it right as he died of the attempt, but Ice once again taking out Gob in the 1v1s. So if the 1v1s is not winning for your individual play, you got to utilize that team play and play closer together even as the Doomfist. You got to wait for your team to go and take it. As Provide even takes out Chosen, buying even more time as Boise State is just giving up free percentage to Marryville right now.
And that's really what you see in kind of this top level of competition is the ability to adapt so quickly. Gob basically got one good play on that Doomfist, and then Marryville said, okay, we're going to watch out for Gob. We're going to send someone after him. Basically, Boise State hasn't been able to take back the point. We'll see if they can do this now, though, as Frost throws out the Photon Barrier. Both defensive ultimates being used by Marryville. Actually, the Amp Matrix and Sound Barrier are going to be used. The only thing that Meteor Strike is going to take out is that Immortality Field. And there goes the Self-Destruct is going to get Gob again. Ice also eliminating Plato. And Beta Male also taking out Chosen. Kel being eliminated there. Boise State managed to... Oh, yes, they did take the point, so evening it out a little bit in terms of charge, but Gob swapping over to the Cassidy because that Doomfist wasn't working.
Yeah, he needed to. They recognize Doomfist as kind of the win condition for Boise State as their top player, so swapping over to the Cole Cassidy can play a lot safer behind his tanks, try to get some headshot damage or early picks rather than diving in the back lane and risking his own life. But a great grab is going to kick things off because no D.Va is in sight to eat it up.
We heard the Death Blossom being used in response, trying to make some space for Marryville while they were caught in that Graviton surge. Chosen is only able to take out Ice after that Death Blossom. Cyrus and Beta doing great job there for Marryville, keeping Boise State off the point. A large Bagel looks like he's going to have to reset.
Now Boise State's going to have to go for the hard reset just because of how well Marryville is utilizing their team play. Hey, and even then, Cyrus has been able to win these constant 1v1s as he finally does fall.
Well, there we go. Marryville pushing Boise State back up to the choke here. We're going to see Boise State can make it back in time. Kel just using kind of desperation tactics to at least stretch the match out. Can Boise State get there in time? Oh, look at Ice getting a triple there. Boise State is rushing toward the point, and you can't blame them, but they are just getting completely demolished in the process. And a high noon on top of that is going to take out Chosen. A good self-destruct for good measure there, and Marryville takes the first game.
Yeah, I definitely want to say they overcommitted to the Symmetra. We say in so many other matches, if you don't win the first team fight and can't maintain the point for that long, you need to give it up because it was simply not getting the value you saw. We saw Gob also swapping off the Doomfist, trying to get value on the Cassidy, but was not able to match Sirius on that Cassidy. And then same with Ice. Ice being able to just burn down the frontline tanks, not able to deal with the Zarya as well. Because D.Va was constantly there. The D.Va would have counteracted the Reaper much better, so they should have been able to do the comp swamp much sooner rather than committing to that team composition. So going to this next map, I definitely expect to see the traditional Winston D.Va, a bit higher speed, more divey comp because it works so much well on this, but it looks like it's going to stick to the double Wrecking Ball and D.Va for the side of Marryville with an early engagement, but going to be a near mirror match. But this time Sirius is going to show Gob how it's done on the Doomfist, but Gob's going to be on the Sombra.
An interesting pick. We'll see how he works out with that Sombra and a hack going on to Beto right there, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get... Oh, look at Chosen there on the Zen, getting rid of Provide. Great pick for Boise State. Can they move on to the point? Yes, indeed they can to get the first capture here. We'll see if they can keep the momentum going, taking out Halo. Ice took out Gob, though, so Boise State is still fighting 5v5 right now. Chosen facing a lot of pressure from Ice here. He's trying to take out that Tracer. Is going to get the Wrecking Ball right in his face. Look at Frost, though, with a punch to Cyrus, and with their DPS is gone, Marryville is going to have to retreat.
Yeah, Boise State played that very well. Well, as we've been watching Chosen kind of this whole time on the DPS healer that is Zenyatta. Marryville even swapping over to their own Zenyatta because the Baptiste got taken out so early on. It was definitely a good swap to try to match it, but he has not been utilized just yet.
Well, it looks like Boise State is just going for some staggers at this point, and Kell is going to get one onto Halo. Boise State also needs to heal back up as Plato is down to about half health. So we'll see how well he can survive there as Ice has just charged up their pulse bombs. Boise State's going to have to watch out for that as Plato can make some space, though, with this minefield. Is going to do that and slam right down into Marryville. But Beta is just charging him right now, forcing him to take so much damage, and a pulse bomb onto Large Bagel is going to give Marryville the opening that they need, as they've just been dutifully kind of clearing the mines out of the way and are now looking for their opportunity to charge back in. Look at Plato over the abyss into the health pack as well. Gob getting a pick onto Ice right now. Boise State is fighting even with Marryville. Gob has his ultimate, but that's the kind of ultimate used to set up engagements, not to end them.
Yeah, Marryville played that very close and showed why they have the better team play than Boise State. They baited out the Transcendence with the Pulse Bomb and still got it off onto a Large Bagel. So already they were down a healer. And then Boise State's Plato got cut out when he went in on the minefields between both the Brig and the Soldier and could not get out from between them. So he got pinched, as well as the rest of the remaining members of Boise State got taken out piece by piece by the members of Marryville, who pushed together, which is what you want to see. So Boise State lacking on this team play, but still having the good individual play has been their biggest crutch this season so far. So now with Marryville kicking things off with the rally, things are looking good for them in the next team fight.
Ooh, and some picks right there. Boise State, they're just going to hold on to that hack that they had, that EMP, and just wait for the next fight, because this one is all but lost for the Broncos. But the Broncos, at least on their first charge, managed to get up to 58%, so not the worst amount of time to keep the first point for.
Yeah, Frost trying to charge up that Pulse Bomb the best he can, but gets quickly eliminated as Tracers on both sides have not been able to get as much value as you want to see. But Ice has just been barely able to edge him out just in time as Boise State's trying to get back onto the point, but they have yet to have a concisive team push against Marryville, as they've just been able to disrupt the rotation so consistently. But now with an EMP, things are looking good for them.
Well, that Transcendence is going to keep Marryville alive, but not Halo, as we hear the values are being used by Cyrus there. Look at Frost. Looks like their Pulse Bomb was eaten by that defensive matrix. Unfortunate for Boise State, as those mines are going to do their work, taking out Plato. Frost also eliminated, and that push just didn't go well for Boise State at all. They used everything they had. All they're going to have is Transcendence.
Yeah, Marryville can take this very easily, as Boise State has not been able to recontest, even demeching Kel as a Large Bagel. Finally swapping over to the Lucio, try to get there in time, but I believe Marryville will be able to stop him pretty quickly, as it is on overtime. I believe Plato is on point doing his best to contest it, or maybe it was Frost who got quickly eliminated. But Marryville's holding tight.
Well, Boise State, look, the combination of the minefield and the Transcendence trying to buy them some time, but not enough time, as Plato and a Large Bagel are both eliminated. I don't think Chosen can hold out the point. We still have some contests on the point, most likely Ice trying to blink around, but oh, look at Ice. He is going to be taken out. Excuse me, Frost, the one I was meant to say there, but Chosen is eliminated, as well as Kel. That one pick isn't going to do it for the Broncos. Can Gob and the other Broncos get back onto the point? They are going to be pressured off, and Marryville gets the first win in control.
Yeah, I think that's one of the crutches that we've seen in so many other points, is the objective is greater than kills, which is why we see Boise State fighting off the point so much, because they're trying to pull them away from the point. But if you're not winning the team fight, you need to start fighting on that point, which is one of the big misplays I think Boise State pulled in that matchup.
Well, if you're looking to join Boise State Esports and all that they have to offer, then you're going to want to go to boisestate.edu/esports to find out about more information about how you can sign up. Great talent, along with good grades and eligibility, of course, can get you a position on the Broncos team. So go to boisestate.edu/esports to get more information about how you can sign up. Alrighty, so Marryville getting the first win there in this best of 5. What's the main thing that you think Boise State needs to improve on to get back in this fight?
Their team play, for sure. If you see how closely Marryville is playing and utilizing around each other, they're playing split, but as soon as they need help, you see at least 2 other members come charging in, whereas for Boise State, they're constantly taking these 1v1s. We saw from Gob and Chosen going up against Iced, and Iced usually lost it, but very quickly we saw their 2 tanks come swinging in, or even if it was the Brig, swinging in and winging that engagement and continue to push forward. So yes, you may be trading, but you are usually utilizing your team play less to where we see Marryville be able to re-engagement and get those refrags that you want to see at this high level of play. They may be playing split, but they're still close enough together and have that high enough speed that they can re-engage and win that fight.
We're going to take a short break and be back with round 2. We'll see if Boise State, once that they have choice of the stage now, they can bring this back. So we'll take a quick break, be back with this TESPA postseason matchup. We'll see how this works right after this break.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pass Esports Arena. You're watching our coverage of ABC Collegiate Homecoming in Overwatch, their Overwatch tournament, excuse me. We just saw Marryville, a very formidable team, get a win on map 1. So Boise State will now get the choice on the next stage, which should be hybrid, if I am not mistaken. I'm still your host, Jacob Jem Palmer, joined by Brenner Bear Ladden. Well, Boise State having a little bit of trouble. I mean, it wasn't a complete blowout. They still won some team fights, but Marryville just seemed to be on another level, and maybe the right choice of map can be good for Boise State, although if it's hybrid, I have a sinking feeling they might choose Kings Row.
I mean, it's the one we have the most practice on, and I think every team in the league can say that they have the most practice on Kings Row because it's probably the most picked map, especially for hybrid. I mean, we did just see in the high school level play they picked Eichenwald, but that is not something that we see very traditionally because it allows for too much variability, whereas Kings Row is pretty straightforward of, all right, we know we're going to do a May Brawl with a Cole Cassidy because it's kind of been the meta. Maybe we might see a Hanzo or even an Echo or a Farah, but they can be counteracted so easily by the Cole Cassidy that they'd like to stick with the ground team of the May Brawl as it is Kings Row for that hybrid, as you mentioned. So Boise State going into this should feel confident it's their map pick as they did lose the previous map. So going into this with their comp, hopefully we see them on defense first as they were very well off in defense first for the last match that we just casted. So hopefully we get to see a repeat of that dominating performance on Kings Row.
Well, we'll just have to see how it works out for the Broncos. Once again, the matchup tonight is Boise State versus Marryville. These are two teams that have been ranked in the top 10 thus far. Between 7 and 10, whoever wins this goes on to play in the next round. Most likely is going to have to face up against Northwood, which I don't even want to think about that right now. For now, the Broncos just need to focus on getting their footing against Marryville. So we're just about ready to jump into the second map right now. It's kind of interesting that Gob, to start out, you know, the first game on Oasis, really kind of chose a DPS that the other team, Marryville, wasn't using. And it seemed like Marryville was able to really adapt very quickly to whatever Gob chose.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what you want to see from a high-level team, is recognizing, all right, Gob's kind of Boise State's win condition. He's the playmaker. He's definitely the high DPS that we want to take out. So as soon as they started counteracting him, they had to force him to play something that maybe he's not as comfortable with as he is with that Doomfist. So if Marryville is still in the blue like we believe, they do have the Widowmaker this time around on the defense, which is something we don't see as often. Same with the Wrecking Ball and the Sigma. So this could definitely throw Boise State off their game of the traditional expecting the Ryan Diva May Brawl comp of the Wall and Maul. So this could definitely throw them off. Or if they're expecting, they just have to be ready for the split priority of, we know Reinhardt does not do well with split target priority, so this is definitely going to put a lot of pressure onto them, but instead they're going to go for the Winston Diva kind of high dive with the Pharmacy.
Yeah, this is, we are not seeing May Brawl on Kings Row in the championship match. Who would have predicted that? Well, we'll see how it works out for the Broncos. As Cal taking a lot of damage. Blato's going to be taken out, but Gob doing great work on that Farah, taking out Ice. It is still 5v5 and winnable for Boise State. We'll see if they can push on point. One of them is on and is starting to get a little bit of charge. And that is another great pick, taking out Halo. But Chosen has have to deal with right now Mikey on this Wrecking Ball, getting right in their face, and without that Mercy pocket now, Gob is going to have his job made a lot harder. We'll see if Boise State, they still haven't been able to get a tick, and Marryville has been able to hold on right now. Chosen is going to use that nano boost. We'll see how that works out for the Broncos, going very low on health, having to deal with this Diva. Is actually going to be able to stun, but my goodness, it has been back and forth, and Iced and Cyrus look like they're going to be the deciding factor in this fight. Frost taking out Beta isn't going to be enough. Chosen, well, maybe taking out Cyrus right now. Can Boise State fight back right now? A lot of time has been burnt off, and Ice, as their post bomb, is going to be eaten by Kel. I'm just surprised how this contest really hasn't ended, and it's a great pick on to provided by Chosen.
Yeah, we stuck on Chosen the whole time, and he was just kind of pocketing Kel on this Diva in that corner hallway as the rest of the team was just brawling all across the way. And Cyrus on this Widow has yet to make kind of the standout play we want to see from a lot of Widows, getting at least 1 to 2 picks, but he actually lost the 1v1 against Chosen, as we saw earlier on. He is finally going to be able to take out Gob, but same with a large Bagel not being alive to get the res. It seems Boise State will still get the point. So Marryville having the issue of objective greater than kills, they went for the kills.
I was about to bring that up. That was the thing that went so well for Marryville and Oasis, and now it's flipped over for Boise State and Kings Row. Objective greater than kills, unfortunate. Oh, look at side. Okay, watch out. Watch out for those sidelines, Boise State.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you want to throw to Winston's barrier on the cart and then just sit on the cart or even behind it, because that bubble will protect you, or even Kel being able to absorb for at least 2 seconds of that damage as the wall hacks comes out for the Widow's sights. Cyrus has definitely been a threat to be reckoned with so far, but if Boise State can stay out of the sightlines, they can definitely take this fight, especially after eliminating both supports in this early fight.
That's a great start for the Broncos, and they don't have to deal with those support ults, at least for this fight, but Cyrus being such a menace on this Widow, taking out a large Bagel, and now Gob! Oh my goodness, what is this Widow even doing? Boise State just can't, they're not used to going up against the Widow on attack on Kings Row, because they are just walking. Okay, that is what Kel needed to do on that Diva. Get rid of Cyrus, and Boise State can push forward the payload just a little bit more.
Yeah, now we're actually going to have a big worry about a large Bagel, because Gob swapped off that far. He's not going to be as well utilized as previous, but he's still going to be that main support with a quick escape with Plato jumping high into the sky, and same with Kel being able to fly away. And now the Valkyrie's coming out. Hopefully we'll see him swap after utilizing this ult, but the Mines was negated as they got out in time, but Provides coming in with Transcendence.
Transcendence is going to keep Marryville alive for right, and now we also hear the rally, so a lot of health being placed onto Marryville, and Beta also eating Frost Pulse Bomb. It's been the second time I think that's happened. Frost just unable to make that Pulse Bomb work. Cyrus and Ice are also going to get their picks onto Chosen and Gob. Boise State is just getting mowed down right now, and that attempted res onto Gob just isn't going to work either.
Yeah, you got to swap off the Mercy now, especially since you don't have that Mercy or even an Echo, so we are going to see the Brig. So this is getting closer and closer to consistent mirror match 1v1s. But now Cyrus swapped off that Widow, is now on a Genji, so not even going for the Nano Blade, but just trying to disrupt that backline, as Chosen has been such a juicy target for Ice. But Bob's going to come out for Gob and see if he can get any value.
We'll have to see. Cyrus is eliminated, but it's answered right back with a pick onto Plato. So now teams are down to 5v5, Overwatch 2 style. Gob is eliminated by Provide. We also have the self-destruct being brought out. Isn't going to get anyone, but Boise State still hasn't really been able to get back onto the payload. They have one person pushing it right now, though. So we'll see how that works as Plato is making some space for himself with that Primal Rage. But Provide is going to use, again, that Transcendence just to keep Marryville alive. Great pick. Gob, who is swapped over to the Sombra now, is taking out Halo. And Gob is just kind of doing a suite of all the DPS heroes right now.
Yeah, trying to see where Marryville's weak spot might be, or to constantly keep them guessing to keep them off their feet, as Plato now swapping over to the Wrecking Ball from the Winston, I think is a very good choice, because Mikey has just been able to cause so much chaos that Winston cannot keep up with a Wrecking Ball. So I think that is definitely the smart choice, since you will be able to match him, since it is a mirror match, as Frost is there to help get the elimination with Gob onto Mikey. Taking out their front lane tank is definitely what you want to see, especially followed up by a Diva Bomb taking that space, but nobody's on the cart pushing it.
Whoa. We have said it so many times tonight, objective is greater than kills. Boise State getting closer. Oh, the Pulse Bomb finally goes through for Frost, is able to take out Halo. After so many attempts, he finally finds it. Good for him. Now let's see if we can win the rest of the team fight here. Well, Cyrus is eliminated by Plato, but 2 picks from Marryville is going to push Boise State back down to ground level. And also that minefield is going to be a huge problem. Chosen gets eliminated. Plato taking out Ice, but the payload is still Boise State. Cal managing to push it a little bit farther. Boise State needs to regroup as a whole team for just one more team fight. We'll see if it can work.
Yeah, Boise State was able to kill Cyrus while he was mid Genji Blade, which is why you need the Nano in order to stay alive, because he went right into the enemy team and got collapsed on. But all sides are going to be on Kel and a large barrel to get to the cart in time. So they will get the overtime, but now it is an all-out brawl. Can they win it against Marryville? And starting off with an elimination onto Halo and pulling out the Transcendence is what you want to see.
Ooh, and Gob has just charged up that EMP, but oh, that self-destruct is going to take out a large bagel, and I don't know if that EMP this late is going to make that huge of a difference. It does go on to Beta, and Mikey is taken out by Cal, but now Gob and Plato fall, and oh, that's a painful loss for the Broncos there. Oh, they're going to have a tough defense.
I mean, Marryville had a great defense. You want to highlight it because Boise State still was able to push the car so close to that first checkpoint, but Marryville, even when losing consistent members, do the same thing as Boise State, is they have great individual play but better team play, because they're able to get those re-engagements and play close together. We see on that Diva Bomb, they're all close together to avoid it, and their 2 high-speed DPS are preventing the cart from being pushed, even though no member of Boise State was on the cart. So I definitely think Boise State has a lot to take away from this match of, we need to play around the cart. Even if we're good at taking space, someone has to be on the cart to push it.
What do you think about the choice of the Sombra there? Because the EMP was charged up in that last engagement, but it really wasn't used until the match was already lost for Boise State. I'm just wondering your thoughts on that overall pick.
I think it should definitely be the issue of waiting for, you know, the perfect EMP to hit more than 1 or 2 people. But at the same time, you have to remember, if you can't get the hack because you're constantly getting damaged, the EMP is the instant hack that you need to take down that 1 or 2 people to give you that +1 and +2 in the fight. And we saw Gob swapping around a lot of DPS. We saw him on the Pharah and then the Ashe and then on the Sombra, trying to keep them on their feet and guessing, but it simply was not working because he wasn't getting the DPS that matched Cyrus on the Widow or even Cyrus on the Genji, followed by Ice on the Tracer, who is very consistent. And Frost also having a big issue on the Tracer might be another issue of, he only ever landed 1 or 2 pulse bombs compared to Ice, who landed practically every single one onto a member. And Chosen beyond the Ana was another huge issue. He was alone in the backline, and Boise State didn't have enough peel to keep him alive. So now with Gob on the Torp, changing up DPS again could be an issue for Boise State.
Well, the turret isn't going to really do that huge difference right now, as Cyrus is able to take that out. Boise State is finding themselves low on health and is pushed back on the point here. Plato taking a little bit of damage from that orb, almost brought back to half health, but the healing is good for the Broncos thus far. This turret can't catch a break either way. That's a nice anti-nade onto Mikey, and could give Boise State the footing they need to at least hold Marryville right now. And they need to stop those ticks from going through. A nice pick from Iced on the Hanzo here is going to be eliminating Frost. It looks like Boise State, for at least now, have managed to hold the point, but it was a soft reset from Marryville, so they're just going to go back into it right now and contest the point again. Chosen has charged up. That nano boost is going to throw it out, but look at Provide with that punch, and Halo and Iced also getting rid. Plato is going to be the one all charged up to try to hold the point, but he's only going to get one pick. So Marryville looks like they take it.
Yeah, Boise State had a very close DPS fight, close quarters, but as soon as Marryville dumped right on top of them, they had Provide there with the Transcendence, who's been charging it faster than most ults we see. Even with the Reinhardt charge, he's been charging it so quickly, which I think speaks to the high skill level of that player, is how much damage he is dishing out to charge it that quickly, which is something Boise State, I think, just has not been respecting. And with Kel, even on the Sigma, with the Plato on the Rhine, not having that Diva to eat some of these ults or even a lot of the damage coming out has just been a crutch for Boise State.
I'm just keeping a list right now. I'm literally writing down all the DPSs that Gob has swapped over to, because I'm sure this list is going to be, I'm trying to remember all of them, but it is insane. We'll see what tries to work for the Broncos, but it isn't working out right now, as the tanks are doing a great job taking out a large Bagel and Chosen. So Marryville looks like they are cruising right toward their checkpoint here. We'll see what
Cyrus taking his own bet at the Tracer this time around with Ice over on the Hanzo. So Marryville is definitely playing for the longer range engagements to utilize Hanzo, as well as provide Zenyatta with as much capabilities as he has. But Mikey has just been able to keep the front line in Boise State's face, and Boise State hasn't been able to regroup and have a solid team fight where they can have the advantage.
Well, here we go. Oh, that's going to do it. Marryville wins it again. Boise State just really can't seem to find their footing. If you haven't been watching, well, right now we have some very important information on a place that you're definitely going to want to sign up to work at. It's one of the best places to work in Idaho, Idaho Central Credit Union. They're now hiring for positions like software developer, server administrator, workstation technician, information security intern, and DevOps engineer. Learn more and apply today at www.iccu.com/careers to find out more. Well, the Broncos have to make it happen right now. They need to clutch something. Do you have any choices or main pieces of advice and maybe a suggestion for the next stage to pick?
The next stage to pick going into it? I mean, it definitely depends on the mode, because I don't remember if I heard you say the mode. That's my fault.
I mean, it has been following the main standard order that we've been used to in the best of threes. So if we're to judge it on the rest of the season, that is probably Escort, I believe.
Okay, so if we're heading over to Escort, we want to pick something that we're comfortable with, especially since that we've lost the two. We don't want to get 3-0'd, obviously. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go over to Dorado, just because that's been the map that we see Boise State play on a lot. And I know we all know you don't like that map very much. And so, but it could definitely utilize a lot of the things that Boise State has been trying to perfect on, which is the team play, and trying to contest the high ground while also pushing the cart is something on Dorado that we can see a lot of teams struggle with. Even on any of the checkpoints, the high ground is so well utilized in Dorado that it causes so many issues. We see a lot of Winston's, as we saw in the high school match. Winston jumps in by himself and just causes a lot of issues, but he usually falls, which is why we see the swap over to the Wrecking Ball, because he can usually get out in time with the higher move speed. So it's definitely kind of attack pullback of these hit and run tactics that have been working out so well for Marryville. But when they hit hard because they're normally reinforced by that Transcendence coming out from Provide, because he's just been able to dish out a ton of free damage because we haven't had Kel on the D.Va to absorb it up. And even when he is, he's getting hit from so many angles that he's not been able to utilize the defense matrix to its full capacity. So with Escort, I think Boise State is definitely going to have an uphill battle, but they can still pull it out.
Well, we'll be back very shortly here. We'll take a quick break before we get to round 3, and then we'll be back with the Cassidy, Echo, Sombra, Torb, Doom, and Friends show right after this.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pass Esports Arena. You're currently watching ABC Collegiate Overwatch as Boise State is finding themselves in the postseason, going up against Marryville and having a really tough time at it. They are going to go down 0-2 and have to basically pull off a reverse sweep from here on out. I'm still calling all the action. Jacob Jim Palmer, joined by Brenner Bearlad. And Brenner, we were just talking about the break, about Boise State. Yeah, I don't want to place it on just one person, but it really seems like they've been struggling to find a DPS that really works consistently for them.
Yeah, we see Frost sticking to that one DPS and getting a lot of value off of it because he's been able to charge up his ult, whereas Gob, as we've been kind of joking, just playing every single DPS in the roster, not really committing to one. And I'm surprised that out of all the ones he picked, he never chose to go with like the Junkrat, because he's clearly not playing around his ult with how often he's swapping, but Junkrat has the abilities that he needs to counteract a lot of Marryville. He has the trap to slow down the Wrecking Ball and a lot of the high speeds. He has the bombs to both knock himself away and deal a solid bit of damage in a single ability, as well as just lobbing nades from further back. whereas they've tried for kind of a closer fight hold in close quarters, but that simply didn't work for them because as soon as Marryville grouped up and rolled over them, they couldn't even stand and fight in close quarters. So Junkrat would excel at all of those because he can lob the nades further, or he can just spam throw all of his mines very close range, have the trap right at his feet, and try to get away. So I hope to see that utilized coming up in this next match.
Well, let's take a little bit of a reset right now for the Broncos and get back to some things that maybe they can keep in mind. Those are Doc's keys to the game before we find out what stage that they chose. And in Overwatch, that's never to take a fair fight, and that means take fights in unexpected places when the opposing team is unprepared, and tempo, tempo, tempo. And I have to add, one Doc's key to the game that we see sometimes in other broadcasts that isn't on this list, but still, the objective is worth more than kills. We have seen that so many times for both teams. But whatever the keys to the game are, they are brought to you by Drop-In Gaming, the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. All right, we're just waiting to see what the choice is for game number 3 here. Looks like we're just going to go right into it, and Boise State has indeed chosen to use Havana. And, you know, I want to see these teams do good on Havana because if my memory serves me correctly, I have not seen the second third. I've only seen the first third of this map because all the times I've casted this, no team has made it to checkpoint 1, so at least set the bar there.
And new DPS for Gob, the Bastion. Oh, so we can add that to the list. But Boise State definitely seems like they're going for more of the possible pirate ship of protect the Bastion and just deal with everything else.
Which I don't blame that pick in this situation here.
Well, he swapped over to the Hanzo and now over to the Echo. So already changing his mind once again when refusing to commit. So now Frost is over on the Hanzo. Trying to deal with this pharmacy that's going to come out from Halo and Cyrus. And Cyrus has been a very formidable DPS, but Gob finally able to take him out with the execution beam is what you want to see starting off things for Boise State right.
This is the start I want to see for the Broncos. We'll see if they can get some more picks here. Gonna have to, a nice pick would be that Mercy off to the far Mercy here. Halo's already charged up to about half of that ultimate charge thus far. So doing great work there for Marryville. We'll see what Boise State can get right now. But right now they are just content to make as much space as they can with this payload.
Yeah, sticking to Frost so much, we're going to see a lot of his misses, but I swear he's a good DPS player, I swear. But also, Ice taking out Gob so early on. Please don't swap DPSs. Stick to it. You can do it.
Well, we'll see. Well, he is going to stick to it, at least in the meantime, because he does get res, but Ice doing great work on this Hanzo. The DPSs for Marryville have been so formidable for Boise State that they are going to have to reset here. Now we're going to see if they stick on to this double sniper. They are making a few changes here, at least bringing out, they're going to bring out the Roadhog, which is an interesting pick. But it's going to work out in taking out Mikey. There goes the Dragon Strike being brought out. Boise State is just going to move out of the way, but it gains a little bit of time right now for Marryville.
Yeah, Gob's also going to have an uphill battle as a large bagel swapped over to the Brig, no longer on the Mercy, so it seems Gob might stick to the Echo until he gets the duplicate, uses the duplicate, and then swaps off, seeing as he will be in a losing fight anytime he goes up against Pharmacy, but instead he will die to the Sigma. Just got too close to the ground.
Kel taking out Ice right now, but for Boise State, all it's really been is a pick here, a pick there. And there's a great barrage. Oh, a double on to the supports for Boise State. Yet another reset for them. They're just having a hard time here. I want to see at least one checkpoint be gotten here. Please don't let me down, Broncos.
Yeah, we can hope to see that at least as Frost is still in spawn. Dies to Mikey, never even left the door to try to run back to safety. Mikey getting definitely aggressive. Gob is able to eliminate Halo, does have his pocket Mercy back up from a large bagel, but Cyrus, even without the Mercy, is able to eliminate Chosen. Just out of spawn. Boise State needs a solid team push, and with a Roadhog, might not be able to do so, not having a barrier to block those fire rockets raining down from the sky.
Provide. Oh, there goes a Gravitic Flux as well, but Provide doing work on this Zenyatta with a double. That supercharger from Plato really isn't going to be doing too much right now. As Beta is just getting right in his face and contesting Plato, stopping any damage that that supercharger provided, and is going to take him down finally. Just 1 minute left for the Broncos to gain some sort of footing.
Yeah, second Dragon Strike coming out, and Provide has his second Transcendence. They're charging their ultimates very quickly, which is why you don't play a Roadhog, because it's just free Ultra as Ice takes out Gob once again with this Hanzo. Oh, proving that he is the better Hanzo in this matchup so far. They do have the whole hog and the amplification matrix to try to wombo combo this, but they can't live outside the spawn for more than a couple seconds.
And is going to swap onto the Sigma, or at least copy the Sigma. We'll see if that Gravitic Flux can be brought up to charge. Gob taking a lot of damage, though, as Valkyrie and amplification matrix is also used, but oh my goodness, another pick off of that barrage. Large Bagel on the Mercy, though, bringing out some Battle Mercy skills. I can respect that onto Cyrus, but their Mercy is just going to say, hey, I'm just going to res Ice and let him get all the picks as well, because he is doing such a good job. Just as I say that, he goes on to the cow. A last-minute swap onto the Widowmaker, so I can add one more to my list right now of all the DPSs. But Boise State now has just one chance, one hope, one last Hail Mary on this push.
Yeah, because Marryville's just waiting for that Sigma to get back, but as soon as he's back, they'll be able to push this cart with both the Gratific Flux and the Valkyrie, whereas Boise State only has the Deadeye online. We all know Deadeye is the best ult in the game and definitely a game changer here, unless he can land it onto the Pharmacy combo. So all eyes are going to be on Frost as he goes for it. And get Cyrus, which is what you want to see.
Oh, but Chosen is taken out as Ice still being a menace with this Hanzo right now. He's going to throw out that Dragon Strike. Boise State's going to take a mulligan on that and res, but another res is going to go on to Cyrus, and now that Marryville's back up to full strength, they're going to tear through the Broncos again by taking out Gob. Cyrus is eliminated, but look at Ice and Mikey. They're picking up the pieces of Boise State's shattered dreams right now. Boise State doesn't look like they're going to be able to get to the first checkpoint, and if you just heard that, that is the sound of my soul dying, realizing I am never going to see any of Havana beyond this first checkpoint this semester.
But you know what you are going to see? More DPS from Gob.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Widow, Cassidy, Echo, Sombra, Torb, Doom, Ashe, and Farah.
Initiating match.
You have Bastion on there? I didn't hear it.
Well, I'm not going to count that because they didn't. They were still choosing what they wanted to go with there, so I won't count that.
So now Boise State has to have an all-out perfect defense, never lose a team fight in order to hold the cart to where as far as it gotten, which I believe was like, what, 61 meters from the start?
And then if they get this, they have to get the reverse sweep, and then they'll go on to face most likely northward. So no pressure here, no pressure at all.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an uphill battle, but Boise State can pull it together. They just need to have a concise team plan going into this next push of, here's the strategy, here's what we're sticking to, here's what we know, here's what we're best at, you know, best in comfort slots at this point, because they are losing so much of what they're trying going up against Marryville, who, as you mentioned, just might be the higher skill team, and it looks like they're going to bring out their own Bastion and Hanzo this time around to try to beat Boise State at their own game that they tried at the very beginning.
I mean, maybe they're going to say, hey, Boise, this is what you were thinking about running, you know, earlier in Havana. We're going to show you how to do it. We have seen a little bit of that in Marryville, you know. Boise State swaps off of something, and Marryville is like, okay, I like that choice. I'll show you how to do it, and they do a great job. We'll see how that works out, but it looks like Marryville is, in fact, not going to go with that Bastion. That's a great start for Gob, though, taking out Cyrus, but look at Beta, though, with a double and an accretion onto Kel and Chosen. Oh, Gob is just going to, he's trying to turn around. He is able to take out Ice, so I don't know. Boise State is going to be swapping over. It looks like they're going to go on to Ryan Diva now.
Yeah, with only the Wrecking Ball on the cart pushing it solo. Well, already
Hanzo now.
Another Hanzo. And Frost now taking over the Sombra, trying to get back just as quickly as he can. They're going to have to do an all-out defense because they're technically halfway there to the end. So Boise State, the pressure is on, trying to go for the high ground play, but they have to contest it through both snipers here, as Cyrus does get a pick and quickly followed by Ice.
Well, Boise State needs to hold Marryville right here, and look at Halo off to the side, keeping Marryville alive, and Cyrus back as a threat on this Widowmaker that hounded Boise State throughout Kings Row and is now still proving to be a nightmare on Havana. And eyes there, this double sniper. Boise State is just falling one after the other. That looks like it's going to end Boise State's journey in TESPA. Marryville, congratulations on your win, and we'll see how well you do in the rest of the tournament. Marryville winning this, though, 3-0. And Boise State, you know, they had some good fights. It wasn't a complete blowout. You know, they won some fights and they were able to get some charge on control, but it just wasn't their night tonight. Marryville winning that and moving on in the tournament.
Yeah, and I actually really want to highlight Beta Male for the main tank of Marryville. He was doing phenomenal on the Sigma, which is something we don't really see as a Sigma that could pop off as well as he was doing. He wasn't really going around eating ults, but he had the ranged attack to counteract any of the sky vertical plays that Boise State pulled out. He had the rock to stun out multiple ultimates. He had the front line capabilities as well as the healers in his backline to keep him alive even when he didn't have the biggest health pool. And going up against something like Kel on the Roadhog, it's just free ult charge consistently because they have nothing to block that damage other than your own body. So good on Beta Male for sticking to a consistent tank and outperforming Boise State on it, because this is nothing but, as we mentioned, these are like the top 10 teams of the nation, so this was a hard fought match.
Well, now, do you have a suggestion for the player of the game? You know, we still saw some good plays from the Broncos, so overall, do you have any plays that still stood out to mind in your memory?
From the Kings Road defense, I would want to shout out Chosen on the Baptiste, keeping and as well as on the Ana, just keeping his teammates as live as long as he was, especially with how much, you know, backline pressure he was facing and how long he stayed alive so consistently was just phenomenal for him. And on the side of Marryville, since I just talked about him, I want to highlight Beta Male just because of how well he was playing. I mean, we saw Mikey on the Wrecking Ball get a lot of like the more flashy plays and causing a lot of chaos, but Beta Male was still the main front line for his backline teammates. So those are the two players I would want to highlight from each side.
And it is going to be, in fact, Chosen getting a support player of the game. That's what we love to see. Player of the game brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union. Believing a great player makes a team more successful. Just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success, Chosen is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game for tonight.
Yeah, and well-deserved. As I mentioned, he had a lot of pressure in that backline and had to dodge a lot of Tracer bullets through the first two maps. And the fact that he stayed alive along as he did, it just speaks to the skill of both players on each of these sides. So Chosen, well-deserved, and love seeing support players get it.
Well, great job for Chosen. That is going to do it for our coverage of this current match, but stay tuned because we are going to have a quick word with Doc Haskell, just reflecting back on the season and some of the standout players. But for Boise State's match with Marryville, Marryville moves on in the TESPA Collegiate Championship roster. We'll see how well they do later on. But for now, we're going to take a quick break and be back with Doc, so please stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss that.
That diva.
Looks like it's going to be pretty much a mirror match between these two teams. We're going to see, actually, looks like Marryville is going to be the one opting for the May, whereas Gob goes on to the Doofus. And look at that, it pays off right there, able to take out Cyrus. And Ice also will be eliminated, Provide taken out by Kel, and the rest taken out by Boise. Hold on right now. Chosen is going to use that nano boost. We'll see how that works out for the Broncos, going very low on health, having to deal with this diva. Is actually going to be able to stun, but my goodness, it has been back and forth, and Iced and Cyrus look like they're going to be the deciding factor in this fight. Frost taking out
Smart choice, since you will be able to match him, since it is a mirror match, as Frost is there to help get the elimination with Gob onto Mikey. Taking out their front lane tank is definitely what you want to see, especially followed up by Diva Bomb taking that space, but nobody's on the cart pushing it.
Whoa. We have said it so many times tonight, objective is greater than kills. Boise State getting close and is pushed back on the point here. Plato taking a little bit of damage from that orb, almost brought back to half health, but the healing is good for the Broncos thus far. This turret can't catch a break either way. That's a nice anti-nade onto Mikey and could give Boise State the footing they need to at least hold Marryville right now. and they need to
get back, but as soon as he's back, they'll be able to push this cart with both the Gratific Flux and the Valkyrie, whereas Boise State only has the Deadeye online. We all know Deadeye is the best ult in the game and definitely a game changer here, unless he can land it onto the Pharmacy combo. So all eyes are going to be on Frost as he goes for an angle. Cyrus.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You're joining us for the post-game Idaho Central Credit Union Coaches Show, where we have our own Doc Haskell to talk about everything that has just happened, because, Doc, we are wrapping up a lot of things in the season. We'll get to that shortly, but right now we want to kind of reflect on the game that we just saw against Marryville, and especially the one who just got player of the game, which was Chosen, who has lifted his team up in some incredible team play. So just talk about him for a bit and give us your thoughts.
Honestly, John came through clutch like he always does. We're a big fan of everything that John does. He is kind of essential for what we do. His on a play, which he doesn't get to play a ton in some of the comps that we're running, shows just how good of a sniper he really is. I mean, taking down that Widow, just three-shotting that Zen beautifully. It just made me happy. Just made me so happy.
Yeah, and Chosen was a recruit from Esports Tower, actually, I believe? Or no, that was Maxwell, excuse me. I'm getting that mixed up. But Chosen was a very crucial recruit that we were very looking forward to being brought into the program.
Yeah, so we started really getting to know him as he was a sophomore in high school, and the possibility was that he could come here. He continued to develop his skill. He switched roles, became a fantastic support player from a DPS player, was actually much better, but you can still see those skills. And he had a lot of school opportunities coming from Tennessee and ended up coming here. So we're really, really thrilled that he did make the connection and come here.
Well, I was mentioned him just a little bit earlier, kind of by mistake, but maybe it's serendipitous because it is my second question, and that is about Maxwell, in fact.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't quite mention it. Frost was brought in to the roster from Marryville, and unfortunately, that's because Maxwell was out sick, but
Yeah.
Frost was able to rotate in, so kind of give us kind of the overall process of bringing Frost into the mix and seeing the job that he did with Boise State against Marryville.
Yeah, so Garrett's been with us maybe as long as any player on the team. Maybe Nerdy's been playing with us longer. But Frost is a really strong DPS player. He doesn't always make the start list depending on the SR of the team we're playing, but he always practices. And the way that we have it set up with the rotation, we can't always we can't always give everybody all the reps that they would like. He gets about 20 to 25% of the total reps. And so most of what he does has to be paying close attention to the adjustments we're making, watching the people that he might go in for. And when he gets an opportunity like this to play a strong Tracer or a Cassidy, he can do it very, very quickly and did. Phenomenal work by him today. We could not do what we do without really, really strong players that can step in at any moment.
Well, the fall semester is wrapping up. To kind of give a recap, top 8 in NACE, top 16 in ABC and Play Versus, and we still have the ECAC to see how far the Broncos will go there. So what are your overall thoughts kind of looking forward to the last remaining few matches that we have in this semester?
Yeah, things are starting to wrap up. We got some bummer draws first round. We were ranked 7 and we got a 10th seeded Northwood, right? Northwood in NACE. What an unlucky. Right. I mean, they're nobody's 10 seed.
Right.
They're number 1 seed everywhere.
Yeah.
But because they had lost that game to the unfortunate sudden roster change of Illinois State, they lost a game at a crucial time to a team that didn't make the playoffs, and the way the numbers worked out, they just didn't get it. It was tough.
Right. It really was kind of a semester of Boise State had a really kind of in the main season, Boise State had a lot of matches, and then when they ran into the postseason, it was just kind of almost like a brick wall that they hit because there were so many great teams waiting in the wings to go up against.
And when the seeding came out, of course, for ABC, we saw Marryville and went, well, of course. Of course that's what happened. So we understand that that in the fall, and we're happy to take this. In the fall, we get some unfortunate seeding and some matchups. So we got to play everybody, and if we're going to win tournaments, we got to expect to play those people that we see. We just don't get to choose when to play them. We think that'll iron out a little bit in the spring. Obviously, we get some great turnover in the team that's going to make us even better, and it's going to be good. But honestly, we set out a goal. We're going to make playoffs in every tournament, and we're going to run those playoffs ideally to the top 4, depending on who we're playing, all the way to the championship game if we could. We've met the goal of qualifying for playoffs, and we've hit round of 16 minimum in every tournament that we've done so far.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about goals because I just kind of want to get your initial pulse as we're getting ready to wrap up this year. What are you looking forward to next year in the spring 2022 semester?
Gosh, you know what? We're going to get a lot of these tournaments that really matter. We're going to travel with our Rocket League team. We're really excited in the spring to travel with our Rocket League team, and we're going to see some improvement and some turnover in our Valorant squads. We're going to see some spring starts for a number. We're gonna venture into Halo as a game this year. We're gonna get to see Wasey participate in so many of the really top tournaments of the year. It's gonna be a really, really good spring. I'm very happy with how fall has gone, but so many of the titles come in the spring, and we're excited to see that. We've seen our Rocket League team winning tournaments. They're really coming in strong at the right time. Everybody's continuing to improve. No one's taken a step backwards. Everybody's moving forward. So I'm excited for what we get to do in the spring.
Well,
we're going to graduate so many.
Well, I know your assistant and former league player, Nakoba, is going to be very happy with Halo being brought into the mix.
Yes.
It seems like every single day in production, he's going into the office, talking about the latest stuff that's happening in Halo. So that'll be fun to watch. But thank you so much, Doc, and thank you to all the players for a great fall semester. We look forward to seeing what the Broncos can do in spring. And thank all of you for watching and joining us right now. That's going to do it for us tonight. We hope you have a good night and stay safe and have a great winter break.